Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Big Finish fans. Today, we're diving into all things Fifth Doctor rated. We're going to talk about his TV era, some of his Big Finish, and of course, the most recent Big Finish release, Fifth Doctor 40, the first box set part of the relaunch, and the first Big Finish I've listened to this year. So, once again, I am joined with Luke.
Hello, everyone. Yes, a new era is beginning at Big Finish, isn't it? They've changed the whole tagline as well from We Love Stories to
that ident
All
as well.
Last. Yeah, new ident at the start. Bit conflicted, but I like the effort they're putting in to make it feel like a new start. But yeah,
it just feels like effort we didn't really need, but hey, it's there, really.
Yeah, it's that whole thing of if it isn't broke, don't fix it. But
yeah.
But I'm still kind of disappointed that, as far as I know, the old Big Finish ident of you're listening to a Big Finish production, it was always Nick, except for Cry of the Vulturous, where we got a Colin reading it.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
And then, like, when I first heard that, I thought, are they switching up a bit now? Are they going to get a Doctor or maybe sometimes a companion to read it?
That would be nice, like the collection boxes where you have, like, the Doctor or their companion read.
Casey. Yeah, like, you think that would suit that, but no, after Cry of the Vulturous, it just went back to Nick all the time.
Yeah, it's weird that. Colin was like, I'll do that one then.
Yeah, and like you've got that sound clip, you could easily stick that on every Sixth Doctor release.
Yeah,
but no,
it's not like they've got to re-record it multiple times.
No, and they even have at the start of the podcast, you've got Tom Baker saying "Big Finish for the love of stories."
Oh, is it the love of stories now?
Yes, they've got him saying that as well at the start of the new one, and it was "We Love Stories" in the old one. So
that maybe that's going to be in solo then.
Yeah, he's doing it a bit more enthusiastically.
Okay, he's not held at gunpoint. So what have you been doing while we wait for people to join them before we dive into Davison chat then?
Just getting back to work, really, getting into the swing of things again. How about you?
It's just been uni coursework, listening to 40. That's the only real Doctor Who thing I've done.
I have caught up a bit more on the collection box set, season 17.
You finished Creature from the Pit then?
Yeah, I finished it.
Okay.
And I'm also now halfway through the updated special effects on Nightmare of Eden, which is what I have quite a good time with that one, to be honest.
How are you finding it all then? How are you finding it?
I think it's a pretty decent set overall. I think they updated special effects on Nightmare of Eden. Definitely, it's one of the good ones. It's nothing mind-blowing. It's not quite like Castrovalva level or anything like that. It's mainly just the ship and such. But
is it like noticeable then?
Yeah, it's noticeable. And I think it's like K9's laser as well. There's even like there's a moment where the Doctor and the captain of the ship, I can't remember, he's the one who's also plays Iron Grom in Time Warrior, which was weird when I found that out that they're the same person.
So strange.
Like you instantly see it when you hear it, but you never think it. But yeah, there's a scene even where they've added extra lighting for that, like the red of K9's laser. You could sort of see the glow just in the corner, even though so that's like a nice little touch for the scene. But yeah, Creature from the Pit. It took me a while.
What else did you say about Creature from the Pit? I guess.
Yeah, it's a weird one. It seemed like a 3-parter. In that everything sort of wrapped up right at the start of part 4, and then suddenly we've got this whole new threat thrown in just to drag it out a bit longer, prolong my suffering.
Yeah, it's definitely not the finest hour of the box set.
No, I mean, I haven't seen Horns of Nimon before now. It was my first watch of Creature from the Pit, and this is going to be my first watch of Horns after I finish Nightmare of Eden, so after that, I'll be able to rank the whole series, but certainly Creature from the Pit is at the bottom at the moment.
If you have the mindset that Horns and Nimon's a bit of a joke and a bit of fun, I think you'll be all right.
Yeah, I think I am looking forward to that one a bit more.
It's one of those stories where you see clips on Twitter and you're like, oh, it's got to be good. Just from those little bits, like, oh, that's what makes it iconic.
Yeah.
Really.
I mean, like I say, I like Nightmare of Eden quite a bit. So I think just that style of season 17 isn't one I'm against. It's just Creature from the Pit that didn't work for me. And that felt more like a season 16 one, so maybe that's why.
I can see that, yeah. Because I think Lala Ward's very much channeling Mary Tam.
Yeah, especially right at the start. I think she does ease out of that as time goes on, but yeah. Hello, Pain Cyberman. Yes, we have arrived. How are you?
We're finally here. How are you? How are you doing? Having a good time? So we have a quick look at the chat and then we'll begin the Davison talk.
Yeah.
Now we've got Greg joining us. Woo. Hello, Greg.
Hello, Ryan. And hello, Chazadi, who says, finally caught up in purchasing for my Big Finish collection yesterday. Pre-orders from here on. Congratulations.
Congratulations. You're always saving the money until you have to do another order.
Yeah. Speaking of orders, Ryan Hindley has just pre-ordered everything until June except Benny, Peladon, and Torchwood. And I mean, that's fair. There's only so much you can pre-order. And Greg, our resident Torchwood fan, has said, you're not allowed to skip Torchwood. That is a crime.
Hopefully this year we try not to skip as much Torchwood as last time.
Pain Cyberman says, it's been good. Been listening to the weekends, Dawn FM. Hopefully listening to us is just as entertaining. Maybe not quite, but
yeah.
Hopefully we have a decent substitute in the meantime.
Yeah. Right. Should we talk about some Davison then?
Let's go for it.
So it is 40 years since the big man Davo took over as the Doctor. So 40 years of season 19.
I'm just getting over Big Man Davo.
Big Man Davo, he's taken over. Mr. Cricket Man. So we thought we'd talk about some of our memories of the Fifth Doctor, talk about his big finish, and then we'll take a look at 40. So it's a celebration of the Fifth Doctor. So we're
building up to the main event, aren't we?
Yeah.
You don't get your cake right when you get to the party. You wait till the end.
And then you get the news as well. Don't worry, we've got it all covered. Yeah. So what are your early memories of the Big Davo?
I'm pretty sure Earthshock would have been my first Peter Davison story. I remember getting that on DVD. Or maybe it was Five Doctors, actually. It's a bit more hazy. It's one of the two. But certainly the memories are Fifth Doctor and Cyberman seem to gel together. They are a good fit for each other. And so makes sense here with Secrets of Telos when we get to it. But yeah, certainly I don't have any strong memories of him either way, to be honest. Like, he's not quite as full on a Doctor when you're younger, I'd say. But I suppose certainly he did feel a bit more new series to me in the sense that we had this younger man in the role. So how about yourself? Are your memories any stronger than mine?
I think my first Davison story I saw, I want to say, is Resurrection of the Daleks. So I remember being in
off with a bloodbath.
Quite literally, I remember being in W.H. Smith with my dad going, "Oh, should we get the Cyberman or Dalek one?" And he was like, "Get the Dalek one." So that's my earliest memory of Davison, and I enjoyed him, and I feel Davison's been a guilty pleasure Doctor for me.
Really?
Because my dad's Doctor Who was John and Tom, the 70s. Maybe that's why I've got a natural affiliation to those Doctors. I don't know. But he started tuning out with Doctor Who when Davison joined. So I always feel a bit guilty that I like him.
I see.
Like, he was my least favorite classic Doctor. But as time's gone on and the more I've experienced of his Big Finish, that's changed a lot. But I'm sure we'll talk about Big Finish's impact with the Fifth Doctor in a minute. But should we talk about some of our favourite Fifth Doctor stories?
Yeah, let's go for it. Oh, one thing we should mention, Time Crash. Getting the two together, that is an early memory as well. Because that was certainly not my first taste of the classic series, but having the Fifth Doctor be the first classic Doctor to really cross over into the new series, I think that sort of sparked a bit more interest in him from me and was quite exciting. And it's funny because back then, when you're that young, you don't necessarily take in the fact that he's aged that much.
No, you
Like, you
don't.
just see,
I
you
mean,
just
maybe
see
'cause
him
he's
in
got the hat on as well. He does
covering
look
the bald
very young.
spot.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And I suppose this is, what, 15 years ago now, isn't it? I
Yeah.
suppose 2022 to 2007.
I
Yeah.
feel old, thank you.
I'm older, so how do I feel?
Oh, no.
Oh.
Dear, oh dear.
But yeah, certainly that was quite a special moment, and having him be that doctor to bridge the gap in a way, I think puts him on a special place in your mind for a bit.
I think as well, that's why people think he's like the perfect bridge between new and old, if that makes sense, because he's quite a youthful doctor when you put him up against the other classic Doctor lineup. He was very much a prototype new series Doctor, especially when Moffat started comparing like the Tennantisms to the Davisons, from, like the shoes, the specs.
I suppose you got him feeling much more human as well. He's much more like open with his emotions, which is especially different from Tom Baker, who tried to get as alien as possible for the most part. And so that contrast, I think, definitely helps make him feel quite new series. And also, in terms of companion dynamics as well, like them not necessarily getting on as well, there's an attempt there to make it feel more like a drama, in a sense, and give it a bit more depth to it. Might not have worked out well as intended, but you can see there's an attempt there to do something with that.
Yeah. So I just got caught up reading the chat.
That's okay. What's been said?
Just talking about some of that's the thing. In the chat, talk about your favorite Davison stories or Big Finish books, whatever. Be interested to know what your favorite Fifth Doctor things are.
And hello, Sam, Tom, and Greg.
Hello.
Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for joining. Should we talk about some of our favorite Davison stories?
Yeah, let's go for it. I'm just going to read Payne Cyberman's comment quickly. The Fifth Doctor is the first classic era Doctor that I've watched entirely, and it was so I could watch the Caves of Androsani properly. I see. So you're building up to that so you could get the full experience of saying goodbye to Davison. That's better. To be honest, he might be one of the one. Yeah, he's the one I've watched the least of classic-wise.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like when I think it's because Black Guardian trilogy, I haven't got that one. And so I haven't got Arc of Infinity either, because that was in a box set with Time Flight, and I only got round to that with the season 19 box set. So yeah, like that's pretty much the entirety of season 20 I'm missing. I think I've got all these 21 stories.
21's a really good season, actually. I think that's quite underrated.
Yeah, I haven't got Twin Dilemma, but I've got all the Davison ones, so that's all that counts, really.
Yeah. That's fine.
So yeah, that would be the most of a classic Doctor I've not seen at this point, excluding first and second Doctor into like missing episodes. But yeah. So yeah, that's just a weird thought. And obviously that is getting smaller and smaller with new animations coming along.
Yeah, surprisingly smaller, which is nice to finally get that, to be at that point.
Yeah, especially when you look at what's left for Troughton now. In terms of stories still to go.
Man, it's quite exciting that we're at a point where we're almost at a complete sort of Doctor Who, TV media collection, which is really nice.
Like, able to marathon it all visually in some way at some point.
Which
I don't think I'll ever sit down and do that, but
no, because I just like cherry picking. Going, I fancy that today. I like hopping around different Doctors and not staying in the same place.
Although sometimes I do feel like marathoning with these collection box sets, I've come around on stories that I might not necessarily have gone back to and given a second chance had I just it wouldn't be one I'd pick out on its own.
Yeah.
But watching through the whole series, you think, I might as well have that one on. And then come to find that it's not as bad as I thought.
That's the problem with like the collection box sets. You feel obliged to go from disc 1 to like disc 8. You can't. I feel like it's wrong to hop around with those sets, really.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, Stephen Wright, hello. Peter Davison is my favourite classic series Doctor. He was the first Doctor I've ever experienced classic-wise, and he got me into the series. But my favourite story of his is Caves of Androzani.
Very good choice. Yeah,
Yeah.
hopefully you can feel a bit nostalgic having some Davison celebration, really. But in terms of some of my favourite TV stories, The Visitation's one what's always stood out for me.
It's a good bit of fun, isn't it?
It's probably my favourite season 19. It's
Hmm.
possibly my favourite Davison story of all time. In terms of TV,
wow. Yeah.
I love it a lot. I think I like it when Doctor Who does pseudo-historicals and puts a spin on things we don't quite know the answer, like the Great Fire of London. Oh, it's for pterodactyls. Great fun.
It's quite cozy, isn't it? And
Yeah.
sort of does feel more sort of like call back to the 60s compared to a lot of the recent Tom Baker ones. It does have that sort of vibe to it.
Yeah, and I think having it on Blu-ray, it looks really stunning. I think
it does.
season 19 is some of the best restoration the Blu-ray range has had because it's actually got the film insert. It looks brilliant. And it was like watching it afresh, having it on Blu-ray. So I love The Visitation. How about yourself? You got any favourites from 19?
From 19, I certainly say Kinder is one I'm quite a big fan. I think that's more of a Marmite one, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a strange one. Sometimes I'll watch it, I like it. Then other times I'm like, I don't quite get it. And I think that's Kinder. You're not quite meant to get it.
Yeah, it's definitely more experimental, and I respect it for that.
Have you watched Snake Dance, just out of curiosity?
Yeah, I have. I did get the Mara Tales box set a while back, and then revisited Kinder when I got the season 19 Blu-ray. Four to Doomsday is a bit of a guilty pleasure, I won't lie. Not one of the favourites, but one of the guilty pleasures, to be honest.
I think Four to Doomsday for me, it's all right. It's there. It's like a 7 out of 10. Like, it's not bad.
Yeah.
But it's not like one I'd gravitate towards.
No, not often. I think also with season 19, the special place they have in my heart is that's when I really got into listening to the episode commentaries. Just because you've got Peter, Janet, Sarah, Matthew, those four together often. And you can see why they got Janet and Sarah together so much for the collection box sets, even when going outside of the Fifth Doctor era. It's always brilliant having those just talk about the stories, especially when it's a less than good story. I think that's when you get some.
Are you mentioning a certain Time Flight?
Perhaps.
Should I play the clip?
Go for it.
Oh, that's terrible.
Yeah, Time Flight's terrible. If you like Time Flight, all power to you, but it's not one for us, I'm afraid.
We love that clip here.
Oh, we love that clip, and it feels only right to use it because Davison, and this is a Davison celebration.
Maybe it won't be the only time we use it. Who knows?
Who knows? Have to see what we make of 40.
Drifting beyond season 19. Sort of feels cheeky to say 5 Doctors, doesn't it? Because
I feel wrong because it's other Doctors.
But it also is in this era.
Yeah.
But at the same, it's not like 3 Doctors though. I feel like 3 Doctors is very much a third Doctor story that just so happens to have the second and first in for a little bit. 5 Doctors feels much more like an overall celebration of the series, and it just so happens that Peter was the Doctor at the time.
Yeah.
He feels as much of a guest in it as the others in some way.
I think the problem with 5 Doctors is the other Doctors are so powerful in their own right. I feel like Davison sort of gets lost in it. Like, no offense to Davison, I think he's a great Doctor. I just think compared to like the other Doctors, he doesn't have much of a presence compared to like John or Pat. Really, I think maybe because the story's more focused on them.
I think they try to give him his own unique arc, don't they? With him being the one on Gallifrey.
With Barisa in a way.
Yeah, he's like the one doing something different while they're all in the Death Zone. But the Death Zone's probably the more interesting part of the story. So
that's why you probably remember it more from the other Doctor's point of view.
Yeah. It's very much, it almost feels more like the subplot, doesn't it? Because you've got everything happening in the Death Zone, and then this is also going on the side. And it does all tie in, and it's very well written by Terence Dicks. But yeah, the Fifth Doctor, I don't know, while trying to give him the highlighted role, he ended up drawing the short straw, funnily enough.
Yeah.
And I think I'm not sure whether it was originally planned that Tom Baker would perhaps be the one to go to Gallifrey, and sort of like a deadly assassin kind of place, especially because he was the one who had the most connection to Barusa at the time.
Mhm.
But yeah, I think they juggled around so much what was going on with that script, though.
Be interesting to see if Big Finish will do like adaptation of it, like the original Five Doctors, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to tell. Like how there's so many different variations you can do, though, isn't there? So yeah, especially when they were considering for quite a while juggling different Doctor's companions around. Yeah.
I think we've got to mention Earthshock because I think that's one of the fundamental mechanics of the Davison era, what spawned so many good expanded media stories from it in terms of character arc and growth for the Fifth Doctor and TARDIS crew.
Yeah, I mean, losing Adric, that's definitely an iconic moment for the Fifth Doctor, and one that's never really explored much on TV. Like you had that nice little moment at the end of Caves, but yeah, for the most part, it's sort of forgotten until expanded media, like you say, can really pick up on that and use it. Like the Lost Resort and Other Stories certainly did, and the whole Mark arc really did capitalize on that. And 40 perhaps is doing something similar.
Yeah, 40 puts a very different spin on the Fifth Doctor's actions, but I'm sure we'll dive more into that when we get to 40.
Yeah.
But yeah, other favourites for me, I would say everyone's saying Frontios, which is really nice because that was the last Davison story I saw to complete my Davison collection, and there's something quite rich about Frontios as a world. The dialogue, with Frontios buries its own dead. It's really trying. It's like the hard sci-fi of Christopher Bidmead, but with a more of a grim tone, what you'd see in like Resurrection.
Yeah, it definitely does suit that grimmer tone. I think it's funny, you don't necessarily associate Fifth Doctor with that, but actually that is a lot of his era, especially season 21. Quite a lot of dark stuff in there.
I think it works for Davison because we've said he's a very human Doctor, probably the most human of them all. You put one of the most innocent doctors in in the darkest of situations, you really get to see how well of a Doctor he works and see how far you can push him as a character.
And again, that's something expanded media has taken even further in some instances, like Blazing Hour, for example, is a good one. But yeah, I'd say certainly The Awakening is a nice little two-parter.
That really needs to be a three-parter. I just wish there was more of it because I enjoy it that much. I'm like, there needs to be another episode of it. Really,
I think at one point it could have been a four-parter, wasn't it? But then they sort of thought, we've got this two-part slot, we might as well squeeze it in there. And to be fair, it's never rushed or anything, is it? But certainly you can see potential for more there.
I think because it reminds me of like The Visitation. I think that's why I vibe with it a bit more. Because it's like Civil War and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, the Malice is a great idea as well. Just the imagery of it just bursting out like the church wall. It's great.
Yeah. I mean, you even have the ties to The Visitation, don't you? With the whole planet Raga. And all that. I think it is like mentioned it's a pteroleptal type war machine, isn't it?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. So it's almost like a little sequel in a way.
But other Fifth Doctor stories, yeah, Resurrection of the Daleks is a good one. That's a good one.
I'm not as big a fan of that one.
This might be controversial, but I think it's my favourite Dalek story of the 80s.
Oh wow!
I like the atmosphere. It's just grim. I like it.
Yeah, it's another grim one, certainly.
It's a grim one, but
I feel like it's just got too much going on. Like there's so many different. Like the Daleks have about 8 plans going on at once, which in a way feels believable.
Yeah,
but at the same time, in sort of like in sense of following a story, you don't know which to grasp onto because the story itself doesn't seem to know which is the A plot and which is the B plot.
Yeah.
So it throws a lot at you. Yeah, and of course, Caves as well. That is.
Caves is a brilliant one.
Yeah. I just remembered while thinking about Fifth Doctor stories I haven't seen. I haven't finished Planet Fire. I watched the first half of it and never went back.
Oh, we know what bit you watched up to.
Oh, I
Oh
got what
dear.
I came for. I was out.
Oh yeah.
Oh, no, I'd already struggled through King's Demons.
See, I quite like King's Demon, to be honest. I think it's all right.
I feel like I need to give it another try. But certainly that first watch, 2 parts, and it was a massive slog for some reason. But yeah, and then Planet of Fire, for whatever reason, just couldn't get on with either. So
I mean, would you say you've got like a guilty pleasure from the Davison era?
you already kind of mentioned
Yeah.
40 Doomsday for me. How about you? Is it going to be the Warriors of the Deep?
It is Warriors of the Deep.
There we go.
It's a story
The
that
Sea Devils.
it's Sea Devils. It's a story what should not exist at all because of how much it was put up against with like strikes, snap election. It's a story what we
Bloody
shouldn't
Maggie.
even have on. Yeah, bloody manufacture. We shouldn't have it on our shelves, but it's there, and I respect it. I like what it's doing. It's a great idea having the Sea Devils and Silurians team up. Not the most iconic of designs, but I admire it. I like it. I still want a figure of them. So yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good story. It's a good story at heart. Like it's got one of Davison's best moments within it. Like, oh, there should have been another way. Like, there's some good, powerful stuff within there with Davison. So yeah,
Yeah, I think I'd probably give it a 7 out of 10, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I'd give it a
hate
7.
It deserves.
Well, Ben, of course you like Warriors. Of course I like Warriors.
Yeah.
Of course, gotta respect my Sea Boys.
Sea Friends.
Sea Friends are my Sea Friends. Oh. Should we have a quick look at the chat and then let's talk about some Fifth Doctor Big Finish because we are the Big Finish fans.
Yeah, don't want to drift too far off topic.
Yeah, we're still on top with Davison, so it's all good.
True. Yeah, we're celebrating 40 years of him. That's just a weird thought as well, isn't it? That this quite young Doctor is now 40 years old.
Even though I wasn't born back then, I still feel old because I'm like, damn, that's going to happen to like Tennant and Eccleston and Smith. I'm like, how's that going to make me feel?
And I mean, we are closer to what's called our births are closer to that, his first story, than to the present.
No, stop right there. Stop right there.
Sam is back. Warriors of the Deep is overhated, says Payne Cyberman.
I agree with that.
Payne Cyberman also says, I used to think Earthshock was overrated too, but rewatching it while marathon the era, it's one of the most bleak and again the most important of Five's tenure.
Payne also says Fear of the Dark was funny enough. The first I got to see who his doctor really was, and that book has made me show was long cancelled such perfect characterization. Fear of the Dark's a good book from what I've read of it. Really like the idea of it, and I should get around to finishing it.
Right.
Greg says my favorite fifth story is Fort of Doomsday. Interesting.
Oh, no, yeah. Stephen Wright said, my mum's favourite Fifth Doctor story is Enlightenment because she likes it how Turlough chooses the side of the Doctor after he declined enlightenment. There you go. I remember seeing Peter at Comic-Con one year and nearly passed out because I was fanboying so much that I was meeting him for the first time. Wow. There we go.
Right, Hindley says, TV-wise, Kez Andrani, Frontiers, Earthshock, Audio, Creatures of Beauty, Omega, Eternal Summer. Eternal Summer's a good one, like that one. And then book-wise, Fear of the Dark.
No.
And Blazing Hour too, forgot that one. Blazing Hour is definitely one of my favourites of the Big Finish.
Yeah, that's like a recent one as well. But
it's nearly a year old, isn't it?
Quite quickly. Yeah, coming in February it will be.
Oh, gosh, right. Greg says my favourite Fifth Doctor book is The Ultimate Treasure purely because it's the only Fifth Doctor book I've read.
Also, on the topic of Blazing Hour being a year old, actually, it feels like it should be older.
Yeah, it does actually.
It feels like the main range was so long ago.
Crazy.
Playing Cyberman, one thing I also really liked about Zero is how it got progressively darker. We started from these light-hearted adventures to going to near apocalyptic settings. Yeah, that's very true.
That's true. Like another thing, what I like about Frontios is just part one's cliffhanger, but the TARDIS has exploded, and you just see like the coat hanger. And you're like, wow,
Yeah, I think
such
there was
a
like
strong thing.
some hoo-ha in the news papers, wasn't there, about Doctor Who's getting rid of the iconic TARDIS? How dare they? Getting
I
rid of
think
the
that
police
was
box. Yeah.
with Colin, wasn't it? Because remember, like Colin being on like the phone and like Swap Shop talking about it or something daft like that.
Probably
It's
that
crazy.
as well.
Should we move on to some Big Finish then?
Yeah, let's go for it. That's why I'm here.
That's why you're here. Okay. Well, you can go if you want. If you don't want to be here, it's fine. I'll talk about Davo, the big man Davo.
PTD.
PTD.
PTSD. That's what he had after Adric blew up.
Oh, goodness gracious me. So currently, Big Finish have all the Fifth Doctor stuff on sale. And we thought we'd pick some recommendations. If you fancy dipping your toe into Davison and you want some recommendations, then hopefully this will help you out. Or if you've got them, hopefully this will inspire you to revisit some of them. Should we talk about early Davison Big Finish that we listened to? Like, what was our first Davison before we start doing the recommendations? I should have done that first, but I was a bit keen.
A bit trigger happy. Yeah, what was your first?
Yeah. I think my first... oh, gosh, I don't know what my first one was, actually. I'll have to try and think. I'll have to have a little frick through.
My first one was the Fifth Doctor box set, funnily enough.
Oh, no, I know which one mine is now. Carry on.
Which one?
Oh, no, you carry on your little story.
Okay.
I'll finish.
So that was the second thing I got after getting into Big Finish, actually. Well, in a way, 9th, because I got a subscription to Fourth Doctor Series 3. And so after that, looking for somewhere else to go, wasn't quite ready to dive into the main range yet. I think there's something a bit overwhelming about that first when you're getting into Big Finish. You don't know like how much continuity there is there, different stuff going on. Also, like committing to a 6 or 12-month subscription. It is a bit much early on, but Fifth Doctor box set, 2 4-parters. It was around the time I was quite into season 19 anyway, getting those stories. So it just seemed it all came in at the right time. And what great stories they are, and what the way they wonderfully work their way into season 19 continuity wise is really good. It really does feel like the missing pieces of that season and of these characters' arcs throughout that. And so I think there's something amazing about that there. Definitely, if you have not got that set, that is a good one to get. If you've not got any Fifth Doctor from Big Finish, that is a great starting point.
Yeah, and we did a stream of it, I think, back in April, was it? So if you want to know our full thoughts on it, check that stream out. When this stream's over, I'll put a link in the description below to that, so you can check it out if you want to. But yeah, I fully agree. Psychodrome seems to be a much more structured Castra Valva.
Yeah, so it takes a lot of similar ideas, doesn't it? And it's very 80s in its concepts and its music as well.
I think that's the wonderful thing about that box set, that it has what the Third Doctor Adventures later would have in terms of it really tries hard with every aspect of sound design. Even like what it does with the characters feels very modern, but still feels quintessentially 80s Who.
Yeah, so it's nice how it's got that mix of both to really feel like it's part of the era, but also something more than the era in terms of what it can do with the characters. And like I was saying earlier about how you could see there was an attempt to really try something new with this era and make it more human, make it more of a drama. Here you could see that attempt really capitalized on and improved. And it does fill those gaps nicely.
And then iterations of what a brilliant sort of ghost story. Like it has the classic horror tropes, like this house, like manor house on an island. You know, they're all cut off, isolated. So it has some great sort of horror tropes, but it works to its advantage.
But it's also got that Christopher H. Bidmead style of
sci-fi.
Very much having a sci-fi and mathematical in this instance reason for the horror that's happening.
My first Fifth Doctor story was The Mutant Phase,
Here we go.
which was free with Doctor Who Adventures. So that was technically my first Big Finish story ever. Took me a while to listen to it. I think I was like 12 when I listened to it. Obviously, when you're 12, I mean, for me, you're not quite ready to experience audio yet, because I think you need to be quite, mature enough to understand it and not go, oh, wish it was visual.
Yeah.
But yeah, Mutant Phase, from memory, it's all right. It's not the best Davison story. But yes, in terms of other Davison stories, I think the early Davison stories, they're not quite the Davison what we get later main range. I think if you want good Davison, you've got to go about 150 onwards. There are still some hidden gems within there, but I think if you want the reason why we say he's the king of the main range, especially in like recent years, is because of the later stuff. But
Yeah,
Primeval,
early on, there was definitely an attempt to really focus on the 6th and 8th Doctors, wasn't there?
Yeah.
Like the 6th Doctor was the one who got the most slack from his TV run. He was the one who didn't quite have a complete character arc and was cut off before his time. So Colin was going in there with something to prove. Paul McGann was going in there with something to prove, having only had the TV movie to show off, and that was like post-generation. So he didn't quite get that full-on treatment. Also didn't quite get the full-on Doctor Who treatment, because it's this half like Americanized version, isn't it? Whereas coming into Big Finish, he feels much more. It feels much more British, I suppose.
Yeah.
Much more proper Doctor Who. And so both of those Doctors had more to prove. Big Finish had more effort to put into them, whereas 5th Doctor specifically seems more like one that they're just happy to carry on with and let run.
We sort of feel limited by the 5th Doctor. If you look at the early times, it was just Nyssa and the 5th Doctor, which great duo, and I think Davison said on record that Nyssa is his favourite companion. So it was great to further explore that dynamic. You had one or two with Turlough, but still very limited. But the main expansion of the 5th Doctor was Perry and Ehrman, which Big Finish have got rid of now because of what it does to the 5th Doctor's regeneration. It lessens that blow to it. And I've not really experienced the Ehrman stuff because of that principle. I should rectify that. But yeah. But in terms of
Primeval, sorry, I cut you off.
Primeval is probably one of my favorite early 5th Doctor stories, alongside Spare Parts. Primeval is very much explaining why Nyssa blanked out at the end of Fort of Doomsday. While she's having a nap. And it's very much like an early Kaz Ramjazani for the 5th Doctor explores Traken and puts the 5th Doctor in, his companion's dying and he's got to try and save her. So it very much feels like Kaz Ramjazani, but on Traken. So it's really good, really good. Spare Parts is an obvious one to mention. Deserves all the praise. One of the best main ranges out there. Got a vinyl release and it's a cracker. It's a good one.
You picked that one up, didn't you? The vinyl.
Yeah, I've got the vinyl there because I've got You've Got This. There we go.
Oh yeah, just underneath there.
Yeah, there it is.
There we go.
Then we don't
Greg
talk
Link
about
says
Necromantia.
His first 5th Doctor audio must have been Sirens of Time, but first proper one would have been Psychodrome. There we go, same.
Psychodrome's good.
He also says the game is also a really solid early main range story. Ryan Hendley, meanwhile, contests with us and says Colin is the king of the main range. Great stories, and also says that there are great stories in there. Remember stuff. Yeah, that's fair enough. I suppose like each Doctor sort of had a different time in a way with the main range. I thought the time when we were most into the main range, it was really when Davison was hitting his stride.
I mean, Creature of Beauty, that's a nice little experimental one. But yeah, in terms of other ones, Kingmaker's one I've got to mention. That's a lot of fun. That's a really good one by Neff Fountain. Avoids Renaissance of the Daleks. It's not very good.
Definitely avoid Necromancer.
Avoid Necromancer. Son of a Dragon, actually, very good one. It's very much sort of plays on the Bride of Dracula with Vlad the Impaler. Very good. And then we have sort of the Thomas Brewster stuff, which I've listened to that one. Sets up Stranded quite well, links to Stranded with like Baker Street and everything. That's like the first time Baker Street becomes a thing, I think, from memory.
That's interesting.
And then that's quite a controversial one, The Boy That Time Forgot. No spoilers of that one.
I think Big Finish has sort of forgot that one now, haven't they?
Yeah, they don't want to quite draw attention to it. Key to Time 2. One trilogy, what I think's really good is the Stockbridge trilogy with Castle of Fear, Eternal Summer, and Plague of the Daleks. That's a really good, solid trilogy. Eternal Summer's a great sort of paradoxical, timey-wimey story, to use the Moffat phrase. Really, really good one, that is. And
then you sort of dive into the older Nissa arc after this, don't you, with Cobwebs? And that continues for quite a while. That's like a 15-story arc.
It doesn't feel as daunting as the black and white TARDIS arc. I think you can dive into that a little bit more easy than the black and white TARDIS.
So ones you can pick and choose from there, because you just need the knowledge of Nissa is older now and she's joined up with them again after Enlightenment, and you've pretty much got it. Whereas black and white TARDIS, it's a lot of stuff going on each story that changes the game.
And you get the first Sontaran audio there, which I don't rate it, to be honest.
Here it is on top.
Yeah, I mean, The Elite, I recommend that one. That's a really good one. Really good lost story. One of my favorite lost stories, actually. Again, quite a bleak story, but definitely worth your time. And if you are subscribed and you've got this, 5 companions, a lot of fun, explains where the Fifth Doctor went after he said, sorry, mustache. It's basically in between that and all the failed attempts of trying to get the other companions in the death zone. So it's nice. You got Daleks fighting T-Rexes. What more do you want from an audio? Butcher of Brisbane, have you got that one?
No, I haven't. I was tempted
you
to buy
should have that one.
Sales ago. Yeah.
Should have that one, because it's the prequel to Talons of Weng Chiang. Very good one. Another very good one, Burning Prince. I think this is when you start to get into like some really good Davison stories. I think around about sort of 2012 is when you start to get peak Davison, because I think the Burning Prince Part 1's available on the Big Finish website. Really good story. Really recommend that one. And Eldred Must Die, recommend that one. 1001 Nights, that's a fairly decent anthology.
That's one of those anthologies where it's more all tied together as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like an overarching theme, but still somewhat standalone.
Lady of Mercy, that's quite a nice little historical. Fanfare of the Common Men, that's a lot of fun if you're into like 60s music.
Yeah, I think so. Eddie Robson himself is very big Beatles fan. I saw him do a thread on Twitter recently about the drop T of the Beatles logo, like the history of that and such, and then so that was quite interesting. So he definitely knows his stuff, so he's definitely the right one to write this. I think if you're into that, you'll probably get a lot out of this story, loads of little references. But yeah, I think if you're not, it might not be the best one to pick up. It does go a bit mad in places.
Yeah, I think sort of halfway through part 3, it kind of loses what it built up, but still you have a good time with it. Light at the End, that's a good one. That's good from memory. And then Moonflesh, that's not very good from what I've heard. I've not listened to it myself, but I've heard not very good things, so I'm going to stay away. But Tomb Ship I have listened to, and I did quite like. I don't know if it was just me, but I did enjoy that one. Masquerade I tried listening to, didn't get into it. But this is when we were getting into Big Finish. This is when Davison started to become king, really, for us. So we've got the E-Space trilogy.
Yeah, here it is. It's a big
one. Which is a really good trilogy, actually. It's one I've wanted to go back. How it all links
together. Yeah.
I'd say it's probably like the last trilogy where it feels like a trilogy where they all sort of flow into one.
Yeah, I'd agree. I mean, maybe the trilogy after, well, even then, the Locum Doctor trilogy doesn't necessarily tie into each other, do they?
No.
Yeah, it's just the same idea through 3 stories, then you get the explanation in the final one. But yeah, there certainly would be the last trilogy that really feels like an ongoing arc in a way.
I think each story offers something quite different. Like Mistfall feels like your very traditional 80s story, but really explores Alzarius a little bit more. And quite a short listen, isn't it? It's a very short story.
I think part 3 is like only 20 minutes, maybe.
Yeah, I feel like part 1's like 19 minutes, something daft like that. So
Yeah.
it's one you can really blitz through very easy. And I think maybe the star of the trilogy is Equilibrium.
Yeah, that's like the one we were least excited for,
Hmm.
but ends up being the highlight, really. It's got a very interesting concept behind it.
Man, a very, very good one. Then Entry Plague, wonderfully. Again, it's that bleakness what you get in later Fifth Doctor stories, and it's very doom-ridden, that story.
Hmm.
And Secret History, another good one.
Yeah, it's
Probably
not
the
bad.
best of the Locum Doctor trilogy, actually.
Yeah, it might be.
I mean, we've had that penciled in for nearly a year, so
Yeah,
we'll get around to do it.
we'll do it at some point.
We'll get around to it. Wars of Amsterdam. I don't remember liking that one that much.
No, not a big fan of that one, but I think the trilogy definitely picks up in the next 2 with Aquitaine. That's my favourite of the trilogy, and then not Secret History. What am I on about? The Peterloo
Wrong year.
Massacre. That's
Yeah.
your favourite.
That's my favourite of the Aquitaine. I definitely do recommend, and Peterloo Massacre. Yeah, they're really good. Definitely worth your time. Those 2, and I think
quite
that
dark
was
ones as well.
Yeah,
Do
you want to talk a little bit about Aquitaine, or?
I would definitely recommend it. It's very Stephen Moffat in some ways.
Mm-hmm.
It's like got a lot of time trickery going on there. A wonderful character in Hargreaves as well as like the robot butler you could see on the cover there. He's sort of like the AI of the ship, going around trying to keep things clean while all the crew are missing and things just seem to be falling apart. And so I think that's a quite joyous character. And it nicely balances that tone of horror and a good bit of sci-fi fun as well. So interesting concept going on there. Do you want to praise Peterloo Massacre for a bit?
I can. I think this is what cemented Davison as like my favourite main range Doctor. It made me go back, revisit a load of his stories and experience a load. And I fell in love with it. It's wonderfully bleak. It becomes a family drama at the end of it, and it's such a powerful listen. It's one of those stories where I was listening to it, and I had to stop it because I was like, wow, this is quite traumatic to listen to, and just the fierceness within Davison when he's dealing with a character called Hurley after like the actual massacre, and he's like, get off your horse. And like that, you don't really see that sort of fierceness of the Fifth Doctor. You think, oh, he's quite a timid Doctor. He lets things happen before he steps in. But you really get to see him start to like push, going, look what you're doing. And it's a great historical. And, you know, Paul Mars as a writer is renowned for like funny Doctor Who stories. This is him doing it straight. And my goodness, it is such a powerful listen and highly recommend it. A lot of people praise it, and it deserves all the praise it gets.
I've just seen in the chat, Paintime Man said, always pictured Five as a stressed father trying to keep his children away from harm, which is not something I'd considered before, but is funnily enough a very
I can totally
accurate
see it.
description.
I can see it. Fallen Angel, that's another good one. I think that's my favourite of that box set.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Have you got any other favourites, would you say?
Probably quite a few coming up. I think it's not.
Oh, no. Let's let them load up. There we go.
Yeah. I mean, Contingency Club.
Contingency Club?
Yeah, that's
Is that your favourite of that trilogy?
I'd say so, and then Zoltus is a close second. I think they're both rather good. I think Starmen got off to a good start, but then sort of got a bit disappointing towards the end.
I think it's got too many ideas, Starmen. Like, great cover. I love the cover of it.
Yeah, that's the highlight. To be fair, all 3 covers are really good,
Hmm.
especially the first 2. But yeah, Contingency Club, I really do like that Victorian setting. Like anything that has that going on, I'm always going to be instantly a fan of. I think it's a very easy setting to visualize.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you could dive straight into that kind of story, imagine the fog coming down, and yeah, just love the Gentleman's Club setting and the twist there of something more otherworldly going on with it.
No, for me, Contingency Club feels more like a Jake and Lightfoot story. That might just be me, but
That's it.
still,
Again,
still
Victorian
alright.
setting, isn't it?
Yeah. But I think my favorite of that trilogy is Zoltis. Big fan of that one. It's got Rebecca Reeton from Stranded, not playing Tanya. But really, really good one because it's got vampires, and I'm a sucker for Doctor Who vampire stories.
Even as a Joe Grant reference.
Exactly. So that's why it's number 1 for me.
Yeah, I think when I was listening to that, I heard that and instantly thought, oh yeah, Ben's gonna latch on.
10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. Oh dear.
I'd say Alien Heart and Dalek Soul is probably the highlight of that trilogy as well.
All of the sort of double billers.
Yeah. I mean, Alien Heart, not the best, but Dalek Soul's really where it's at for that one.
I think my problem with Dalek Soul is I listened to Eternal Summer, and that's got Sarah Sutton and Peter Davison like playing the villains of the story. So when you've got Davison sort of playing the villain within it, I'm like, oh, kind of heard it already. But I feel like I need to revisit that one actually.
Yeah, I revisited that one not too long ago and had a good time with it.
One of my favorites, Time in Office. Great
Yeah, you love that one.
anthology. What I really like the cover. I think it's one of the best Big Finish covers we've got, really.
Yeah.
There's just
It
something
feels
really
like they could have
striking.
got more out of that idea.
Hmm.
Like the Doctor returning to Gallifrey as president after the 5 Doctors.
It's one of those stories you think maybe would have been better suited for the relaunch, maybe.
Yeah, so it definitely suits a box set at least.
But yeah, great
Who
ideas.
wrote that one?
Eddie Robson.
Ah, there you go.
That's a good one. Good. That's a nice bit of fun. Then this is an interesting trilogy, isn't it? This one.
It's a similar structure to the previous one in terms of my opinions on it, because it gets off to a bit of an off start. I think Kingdom of Lies is even worse than Starman, to be honest. Then we get to the good stuff with Ghost Walk and Serpent and Silver Mask. And again, the final one was the one we underestimated.
But yeah, you look at the cover, you're like, oh, that looks a bit crap.
Yeah. But it ends up being brilliant.
Again, good bit of comedy within that, especially with the Fifth Doctor basically being flirted at and seeing him trying to squirm out of that is great. But Ghost Walk for me is the highlight of that trilogy. It feels like an anthology, but it's not. It's great. It utilizes the companions in a very different way. They all get their own little story. Sabaoth, great villain, and seeing the Fifth Doctor really push and tested. Good stuff. Really good stuff.
Heliax Riff, we're not too keen on.
Yeah.
Oh, here's one that you quite like. River Song.
Yes, River Song. I got this surely because of Davison, and he was an absolute joy in it. Having him, have more of a comedic role in My Dinner with Andrew. But yeah, good 2 stories with him in there, actually. Do recommend that one. Good exploration of River as a character, and my favourite of the Diary of a Song series.
Greg Link says, I do adore watching you just fan over all these releases. Yeah, so it's gone from a couple of recommendations to let's have our opinion on every single Davison release.
Might as well.
Yeah.
We'll try and get through this as quick as we can.
Actually, my first piece of Davidson story on Big Finish is Serpent and Silver Mask, says Stephen Wright. Oh, that's interesting.
That's
a good way to start
one.
off. Yeah, let us know what you thought of it.
And 2019, Chameleon. That was a solid trilogy, actually.
That's one that would very much work in the relaunch, because with the 2-parter in the middle, you can easily split that up and have 2 3-disc box sets.
But
yeah, I think Devil in the Mist not too great. Black Thursday starts to get a bit better. Power Game is where it's really at. That's a lot of fun. And then Chameleon Empire is a brilliant conclusion.
I think Chameleon Empire is the one for like box set fans. It's one what feels in continuity. You know, it explains why we've got a new TARDIS console.
Yeah. But also, it just feels like it's got a lot of great ideas, and it has quite a limited cast as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's
But it
just the
utilises it
4
very-
people, isn't it?
Hmm.
And I think
5.
you've got
There's
Christopher
like,
Naylor, yeah. You got Christopher
Yeah.
Naylor as well. Yeah.
it makes use of it all very well.
Great visuals. I remember like the Camille's dancing and that simulates like war. I think that was a real powerful thing. I remembered visually from
With
it.
the scale of it as well, and a lot of the ideas. It sort of gives me a Warriors Gate vibe in some ways.
I see that actually.
Yeah.
And then Legacy of Time, we see the 5th Doctor and Jenny and Vortisaurus from memory. Don't remember too much about it, but I
It's
remember
got the 9 in it as well.
Yeah, don't really remember much about it.
I suppose it's the quintessentially meta pair up that you can only really get away
Yeah.
with in something like Legacy of Time.
Yeah.
Having a Doctor's daughter meeting her actual father.
Oh,
Nightmare Country, that's a very good one.
that's a good lost story.
Yeah.
And the only time we've got that TARDIS crew on Big Finish.
Yeah, pretty sure it is.
Where's Tartarus? Tartarus should be here.
That's odd.
Why is
There
it?
it is.
Why is it there?
Oh.
Tartarus should be there.
How odd.
That's
But
bizarre.
yeah, that's a very good trilogy. Other than Interstitial, you're getting a great you're for a great time with that one. And Interstitial you could forgive because as you go through it, one story to the next, it's not as it doesn't bother you as much.
I think Tartarus is probably a good starting point for the 5th Doctor on Big Finish, to be honest.
Yeah, it definitely has like the start of a fresh era.
It has sort of like a quest feel like the Hartnell era. It has thematics from the TV series, so I think that it's one you can easily get into.
It's also got visuals you can only get away with an audio.
And it's a 2-parter, like 2 45-minute episodes, and it doesn't feel like 45 minutes once you've listened to it. It really flows really well.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like a chore like sometimes when you have a story that's an hour long. You can sort of feel a bit daunted by it. This one definitely flies by.
And then Warzone and Conversion. Warzone is a story what should not exist on audio. It just the way that story is, it's about like a danger fun run, really, isn't it?
Yeah,
and
Tough Mudder in space.
Yeah, and it just shouldn't work, but it does. The way it splits the companions off, and the way it slowly builds to Cybermen, it's great. Really powerful stuff, and Davison gives one of his best performances as the Doctor in that story. Really good, really good.
Especially like right up until the ending. It's definitely worth sticking around for that. Wicked Sisters is a pretty decent box set, like especially in the middle story.
Yeah, the Sontaran one's the best.
Yeah, that's it. Is it worth picking up the whole set just for that? I don't know. Maybe not. I think I do really like it, but if you're on more of a budget, maybe best to skip that one. Sadly,
I think
wait until a little bit later when it gets more of a discount to it.
I mean, it does have some nice wholesome moments with 5th Doctor and Leela just having an ice cream together. It has some good moments within it, but I think the stories, like you say, aren't exactly the strongest.
Yeah, it doesn't quite justify the price yet. I mean, especially if you're not into the you are able to get it without having any prior knowledge of the two main characters, Abby and Zara. But you probably will benefit from it. But yeah, back to Mark's stuff now. I mean, we've already tier listed this as well, but
yeah, we've tier listed all.
Kind of part you can skip. Fin Time / Madquake is great.
That's a good one. Expiry dating really recommend that one, actually.
Yeah, more of a 10th Doctor one, but
It's more of a
10th
10th Doctor
has some
one.
great moments, and plus it's on sale. So
If
I
you
think
want
that's
Simp Davison, get it.
yeah. If you want one from the 10th Doctor and River Song set, this is the one to get. I'd say it's the highlight of the set. The other two you can mostly skip. Ghosts is okay, but if you're not fussed about getting the whole set, I'd say you can get expiry dating on its own and not feel like you're losing out.
Yeah.
Shadow of the Daleks now. This is where our disappointment with Davison started to begin a bit. Like, great ideas, great fun, lovely stories within there, because it's an anthology of 8 where they're all linked. There's like one journey going on, tied by the Daleks and Doctor meeting the same characters over and over, but they're different people. And so there's like that mystery driving it through. The explanation you get when you get to the end, though, isn't very satisfying. And it's a bit of a rushed ending. Like, it's an ending that more exists to explain rather than be a story in its own right, sadly.
I think, is it the third story, the book at the end, the bookshop one?
Yeah, that one's brilliant. That's Simon Gurrier.
I think that's the highlight of the set, the bookshop at the end of the world. I think that's the best one of the set, and I think the Shadow of the Daleks too. There's one what's quite meta with like the Fifth Doctor being like a presenter on like a radio show. Was it?
It's like something chamber, isn't it?
Yeah,
Echo Chamber.
Is it Echo Chamber? Yeah,
it's like a podcast he's presenting. That's very good.
But yeah, it doesn't quite gel together. I think that the story could have utilized the actual premise a little bit more, to be honest.
The whole is less than the sum of its parts.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Now, Blazing Hour, we've already given that a little bit of praise. But
yeah, Blazing Hour's top notch.
Yeah, definitely worth picking that one up. Not too much of a discount on it yet because it only just came out last year, but what can you do?
If you fancy something a bit bleak and you've got a bit of spare cash and you're willing to go for it, then do go for it. It's worth it.
You can even get can you still get that 3-month subscription? Or you get Colony of Fear in that though, so it might.
Yeah, maybe not.
But it's quite cheap though.
I mean, maybe because it's on the sale, they might have put a little bit of a discount on that because of the end of the beginning as well. Being a part of it, maybe.
That's true with them, but yeah, you can still get it like free releases for £32.50.
That's okay. That's all right.
Yeah.
But we're near the end now of Big Finish Davison recommendations.
Yeah, I mean, End at the Beginning, he's got some great moments in that.
Out
of Time 2, we sort of had a lot of these we did earlier this week, didn't we?
Yeah.
Actually, we've already.
But yeah, they're good.
Yeah, and I mean, Lost Resort and Other Stories. Lost Resort is brilliant.
Really good.
Yeah, I'd say you sort of like need the rest of the Mark stuff though, really. I think if you are willing to splash out a bit more and have an ongoing story, definitely do get the Mark series of audio, starting with Tartarus, going through to the Lost Resort and Other Stories.
Yeah.
Now we're up to date and we have reached 40. Should we play the trailer?
We can do, if I can get back to StreamYard.
Oh, here we go. Technical difficulties are unbound.
Right, so gonna quickly play the trailer. Or should we have a quick look at the chat and then go on to a trailer?
Yeah, actually. Let's see.
We'll do the chat first, and then we'll dive into 40.
Yeah, Stylish One is here. Hello, Stylish One.
Stylish One.
I do love the Key to Time. Judgment of Iskar is a mess, but the Destroyer of Delights and the Chaos Ball are 2 of my 3 favourite Fifth Doctor audios, along with Spare Parts. Oh, wow. There you go. And then that obviously eventually leads into Wicked Sisters. How does one even do a sequel to Key to Time? By replacing TO with the number 2.
And have a companion what is basically a tracer.
Yeah, interesting way to mix it up.
Yeah, it's interesting. 5 flirting with River. It's good. It's good. Davison becomes a simp.
Yeah.
It's
There's a reason.
There's a reason, but it's worth it. It's worth it.
You also get to hear Peter do an Australian accent, so.
Oh dear.
Payne Cyberman agrees. Five's appearance in Expiry Dating was gold.
It was very good.
Sam says, I think Fifth Doctor and Perry could be great. And how is the TARDIS and the door thing in the TARDIS inside it? How they did it? Yeah, that's a weird one, isn't it? Like the different doors in classic. But we just roll with it. That's how we do it. But yeah, certainly it would be interesting to get more Fifth Doctor and Perry in the sense that they've already sort of ruined that impact by milking that gap. What's the harm in doing more, especially when you're already doing more in the short trips?
Yeah, she's not even in 40.
Yeah, like give her a chance with Peter again. They haven't worked together in quite a while.
I haven't. No, not since I guess Bride of Paladin, maybe. Yeah, what's the Bride of Paladin?
Yeah. Started said that picture Big Finish posted on Twitter of Davison is very creepy. Have you seen that?
Is it the smiley one?
Yeah. It makes me think of him complaining about McCoy getting the wink in the on the season 24 Behind the Sofa. How he gets a wink in his title sequence. So I think I'm glad they kept your face as it was, Peter. That's what the alternative is.
Oh, I kind of just want to have an edit now of like the wink. Just
good.
to see. Oh, there we are.
Probably isn't an image with winking, so it's probably like a weird distorted.
Should we move on to 40 then, shall we?
Yeah.
Right, so I'm gonna play the trailer. So if you've seen the trailer, then enjoy it again because it's a really good trailer, isn't it? Really nice video trailer.
Yeah, I mean they're just getting better and better, aren't they?
Yeah, and it makes you think: are each box set gonna have their own trailer? But yeah,
I imagine Annihilators has got to.
Oh, fingers crossed. That'd be very nice. But yeah, should we move on to the main event? I guess 5th up to 40.
Yeah, take it away.
There's a Cyberman loose in this rocket ship. In fact, I'm afraid there may be more than one.
Now what do we do? Knock on the door. The doctor said they were friendly.
Looks like we're making land any minute. One by one, we'll sink into our graves until no one's left.
Incomplete conversion. In the factory. Friends.
Tyr has fulfilled his promise to us. Rejoice, my daughters, rejoice! He's given us men!
Patrick, you're back. Back. I haven't been anywhere.
There we go.
Yeah. What a trailer.
It is a really good trailer, isn't it? Really good.
Definitely sets the mood, doesn't it? Sets the tone of the stories really well. Particularly Secrets of Telos, getting back into that Tomb of the Cybermen vibe. The
I think that's what made me excited for it. Just because Nick's not voicing the invasion Cybermen.
Yeah, something a bit different. You do get a little bit of that, don't you, with like the cyber
Like the
planner,
computer.
Yeah.
Like the computer within it, I guess.
I think it's like the
towards the
voice
end.
of the cyber network, isn't it? But yeah,
Yeah,
you hear it in the audio trailer as well. We're not spoiling too much there.
yeah. You were really excited for this one. I'm quite interested because I don't know what you think of it. You don't know what I think.
We're going into this blind in a way, aren't we?
We've been busy listening to it instead of talking about it. So
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
pretty much it. So this was one of your most anticipated releases. Was it worth the hype?
I'd say mostly so far. It's hard to say because it's half of a story at the moment. We've still got the Autumn Infinity to go to 6 parts to complete it. And so it's not quite fair to judge the full event just yet.
Yeah.
But I'd say it's off to a good enough start. I think I'm enjoying the concept behind it and where that's taking us through it. How about you?
I feel a bit underwhelmed a little bit by it.
I
think I expected a little bit more from Secret to Tell Us. Personally, I expected something a bit different from it, but we'll talk about that in a minute. But I really like the concept. I know I was against it when it was first revealed, going, "Oh, it's just Locum Doctor Trilogy and Shadow of the Daleks again." But I think they're utilizing it a lot more, especially in terms of Adric. That's really, it feels joined together when you get to God of War. What the Fifth Doctor's learned from Secret to Tell Us to that, with how he treats Adric within that. I like
some beautiful moments there.
It feels very connected, and you feel like the writers aren't in their own little bubble. It feels like they've all communicated to make this. So I'm hopeful for it. We've got the 6-parter. The only real downside for this set for me is that we've got to wait so long.
Yeah, like by the time we get Volume 2, unless there's a bit of a reshuffle in the schedule,
which I hope,
we'll have already had both 6th Doctor box sets for one thing. So yeah, September. It's quite a way to wait. But yeah,
it's a real shame about this, to be honest.
Yeah. I was expecting a little bit more, like not a full explanation in the first set, obviously, but a little bit more of a tease. Whereas this is very much just taking the idea and going, okay, we'll put it in this story, and then we're done. I mean, maybe it's going to be a bit like Dalek Universe, when by the time you get to the end, you see where it was set up before that. But at the moment, it doesn't seem like there's much there beyond just how we get from one story to the next.
I mean, I was hoping for like a bit more of a reveal at the end of the box set. So you're like, okay, things are really heating up.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like a 9-month wait cliffhanger or anything, is it? It is very much just he's off again into another part of his timeline, but we don't know which. I mean, kind of spoiler there for saying that, but I think it's not really a spoiler because it's not really like anything happens to spoil.
Yeah. Because that's like the whole premise of these two stories. It's like Fifth Doctor just being shuffled around his own time stream. Like, it's very early Davison, isn't it? Because he's still with Adric and that. And that's played into, Secret to Tell Us, which I guess we'll talk about now. This is a sequel to Tomb of the Cybermen. It very much feels like part 5 to 8 of Tomb of the Cybermen.
Yeah, like it's very much picking up immediately where it left off for Parry and Hopper on board the ship. They're taking off, but it's picking up on that cyber map we saw at the end of Tomb, scurrying around. It's made its way onto the ship, and the adventure isn't quite over yet for them. There's an interesting line from the Fifth Doctor at one point where he's talking about how he never usually thinks about what happens afterwards, and now suddenly he's experiencing that, what happened after one of his adventures, and how that all plays out. So that's interesting. And then, obviously, for the Fifth Doctor in this set, if you don't know, he's taken from just after 4 to Doomsday. Like the story starts, this has just fainted, and then suddenly the Doctor starts to feel a little dizzy, and next thing he knows, he's popped into his future. Set not long after Arc Infinity, isn't it? Like they mentioned,
Tegan's just joined back.
Yeah, and so he's having to pick on what's going on. Meanwhile, Nyssa and Tegan realizing this, I've got to keep the secret that Adric's died, and that's a bit difficult to do when they're suddenly up against the Cybermen again. So I think that's perfect in that sense that they're reunited with that. And they use the They use the device that the Fifth Doctor, because he's out of sync with his time stream, the TARDIS tries to go back in time, back along his own personal time stream to sort this out, and that's how we end up just after where they left off with Tomb.
I think part 1 for me is the strongest of the story. I think that's where I was most like, this is really good.
I'd say
And I
part
think
2 as well. I think it's it's sort of like a story of two halves, isn't it? Because
Yeah.
that's very much set on the spaceship, and I think that's where it is really exciting. That's where the true horror gets done. Is this very claustrophobic story, and that's what the most Cyberman action is as well. Really,
I think that's my main criticism with this story. Actually, I wanted more Cybermen.
yeah, do not go into this expecting too much Cybermen, because there aren't more than what you see on the cover.
Yeah, and Doctor Who magazine, they've done some really good artwork. I should have the magazine, but it's downstairs. I could run and get it because they did some nice little artwork for the story. And I was like, that's a great way of visualizing it. I might go and grab it if you want to hold fort and talk about
Yeah,
it.
I'll go for it.
Right, I'll go
I
and
didn't
grab
know
that.
about this, so
Yeah,
I'm excited
I'll go
to
and
see
go and grab it while you
go
hold
for it.
fort.
On it. Yeah, so Greg Links agrees here. He says, to be honest, Secrets of Telos barely feels like a sequel to Tomb. Part 3 and 4, sorry, really dropped the ball for me. Yeah, I can very much see that. I'm not too upset about parts 3 and 4, but it definitely takes it somewhere different than where it was going at first. And so you get a story of two halves, really. And yeah, I can't say part 3 and 4 did as much for me as those first two parts did, because now you're down on planets. You see in this trailer, you have this beautiful lush jungle, you're in this open environment, and suddenly a lot of that horror's gone. Part 3, you barely see a Cyberman at all. I think there's like one scene with one of them, and then part 4, there's only really one Cyberman going around, so you don't get that much. Ryan Hindley says, Secrets of Telos is story of the year so far. I would agree, but we've not had that many stories yet, so I don't think it's saying too much, but fair enough, and I'm glad that you had a good time with it. Yeah, Greg Link's parts 1 and 2 are 10 out of 10 for me. 3 and 4 are more of a 6 out of 10. I love Ryan Hindley. I love both parts, but the shift was a bit abrupt. Yeah, I can see that. I think not necessarily abrupt in how we get there story-wise, because, I mean, it makes sense, crashing spaceship, but yeah, like tonally, there is a bit of a shift there. For me, it does feel like a sequel to Tomb in the sense that a lot of similar ideas going on. Like, you very much have this human villain in there again to go up against as well, in the similar sense to the Brotherhood of Magicians.
It's basically Tech-Dayan.
Yeah.
Like,
especially in that jungle environment, you can imagine her in the hat, can't you?
Yeah, literally, that's how I visualized Barbara Flynn. I was
Flynn,
like, yeah, I was like, this is literally Tech-Dayan. Like, she's playing exactly the same like evil scientist character. Like, yeah, this is definitely Tech-Dayan.
Yeah, pretty much.
But the artwork, I mean, it's not really artwork, but it's like the Cyberman there.
Oh yeah.
It's not how I visualized it, but
No,
I like it a lot.
yeah. Oh, I like how one hand's got like the 3 fingers and the other's a normal one.
Yeah, that's really cool.
That's like, it's also a bit of a callback to
10th Planet.
I was going to say Sensorites.
Oh yeah, actually, yeah, it's true, actually.
Which, to be honest, is kind of what I imagined at first, but then I realised this is like the part 1 cliffhanger. Then I realised that's not actually what's going on.
Yeah.
He's actually bursting through a wall inside the ship. Like, they make a point of that glass panel. I think, oh, are they doing a Sensorites here when you hear the banging? But then, no, he actually comes through the wall, because obviously the whole thing of it being depressurized and them going out in space later plays into it. So yeah, that was. But I can understand why they would have thought that. And to be fair, it's a great visual, so I don't blame them for maybe
visual.
going off script a bit there.
Should we talk about Hopper and Parry?
Yeah, I think one last thing about that cliffhanger
Oh, go on.
It started to get into Chibnall level, part one's cliffhanger, started to get into Chibnall levels of description in that I'm pretty sure Nyssa and Tegan mentioned that they were restrained about 6
Oh, yeah.
times or something.
It's like
they
a
kept going
radiator
on.
or something like that, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Stuff like that. Yeah.
Like, we can't move, we can't get out of here. What are we going to... It's very much... We get it.
We know it's an audio, but you don't have to go that far.
No. But yeah, Parry and Hopper, both very well recast, I'd say. Especially when you listen to the extras and realise they weren't necessarily trying to recapture that. They sort of like watched a bit of it, but then haven't like quite closely studied it. They've just gone off of what's on the page and tried to do their own interpretation. And what they've got from that has ended up being very similar to what we originally saw.
I think Parry's the better of the two for me. Maybe because that might be a spoiler. Yeah,
I know what you're going to say.
Yeah, you know what I was going to say. I think Parry's the better of the two. Hopper's
He's
still
the one
got
with more focus, definitely.
Yeah, definitely. There's more focus on that, and I like how they try and integrate the Doctor back into that world. I think that's done really well.
Yeah.
But
I think he fits it as well, doesn't he? Like, especially working with Parry, I think he does fit like the Second Doctor world, really.
Yeah, because this set does feel like a celebration of the Second Doctor in a way, because you've got two Ice Warriors. Yeah.
But, yeah, I think teaming Hopper up with Tegan as well, that's great, because with Victoria, she stood up to him a little bit, but he was like, "Oh, that's cute," and sort of just brushed her off, really, didn't he, when she tried to stand up? But Tegan, she's not one you're going to get away with that as much.
She did get away with it because I was like, "Oh, you go make the coffee," and so he's like, "No, I'm coming with you."
Yeah. Oh no, she definitely pushed back.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he definitely didn't get away with it.
But yeah, there's some really good moments
that's
on
sort
stage.
of like a criticism of the 60s companions in a way, isn't it?
Yeah, it is a way.
That's a funny little. Yeah.
But yeah, the whole spaceship stuff, I can't fault it.
I love that joke where the Doctor mentions it seems a bit bigger on the inside, which because when you see the model in Tomb, it doesn't look like it's that big of a spaceship, but obviously here they've expanded that a bit, and like as you saw in the trailer, you have like quite a big cargo hold and such. But I love like the how there's ladders inside it, how they built that sound design. They very much put a lot of thought into the layout of this ship. So that I really rate. And I think that suits the 60s horror very well. But yeah, we're having a discussion in the chat as well. Greg Links talked about how parts 3 and 4 dropped the ball a bit. And
I think that's when it lost me. Like it's still enjoyable, but I'm not that invested in, cyborg animals and that sort of stuff.
Yeah. You're left wanting more when it comes to the Cyberman with this, which is a shame. I can see why it doesn't have that much of it, but it doesn't feel like it builds to much of an ending.
Yeah.
I feel like there was a lot going on, and then suddenly there wasn't. This is how I describe part 4.
Yeah, because it all happens in like the last 10 minutes, really, isn't it? Where it sort of wraps up.
Part 3, it sort of introduces this new story threads, which is almost you're not sure which is meant to be the subplot, which is meant to be the main plot. Because parts 1 and 2 main plot becomes parts 3 and 4 subplot awkwardly.
You're technically introduced to like the plot in part 1, what becomes like the jungle plot with like Vanson, is it?
Yeah.
But you're not really that invested because you feel more invested in all the claustrophobicness of space and the Cybermen, But the whole sort of, I don't think like the jungle world suited the Cybermen. I think that's another thing what didn't quite gel with me.
Yeah, I suppose it's wanting to make it different from Telos, really, isn't it?
But it's like a production world for Cybermen, isn't it? It's like a conversion planet.
Yeah.
But it doesn't feel like that, though.
In a way, I like the you can imagine the 60s-ness of those sets though.
Hmm.
And I like how it's taking these explorer characters and shifting them from this ancient Egyptian tomb, like the tomb in Two of the Cybermen's very much inspired by, with like these old explorers, and then instead it's sort of putting it into more of a jungle setting, like a lot of other classic explorers would go into as well. So
I
it's sort of
imagined
taking
it
that similar vein.
like Kinder. You know, the setting Kinder.
Right.
I sort of imagined it a bit like that studio jungle.
I think maybe you got to lean more into your 60s mindset. Imagine it being
Mm.
more of like a Kemble jungle.
Yeah, maybe that would work
Like
a bit better, but
Yeah,
yeah.
it's an awkward one. I can see that. But yeah, I did quite like some moments like inside the factory itself. I think that got very creepy. It has some very creepy moments still, but especially Tegan discovering the control center.
Like I like how they're like being guided, and I think Vanson says, "Oh, the production likes them, so it's like guiding them to be converted." I like that. There's some there is some good stuff, like you say.
There's some very creepy moments throughout.
But yeah, I just can't get over Vanson. I was like, "This is Tech Demon."
Yeah,
that was my. I think that's what threw me as well. I was like, "Why am I listening to a Tech Demon audio?"
I'd say one other weird thing for me in this though was that they really do get the Cyberman guns exactly right, like that sound.
That sound effect
that
was
whoosh.
great.
Yeah, but then the humans seem to be using laser guns.
Mm-hmm.
In Tomb of the Cybermen, they're all going around with like classic pistols, like bullet guns. So that just seemed like a bit of a weird twist. Like it makes more sense for them to have laser guns at this time, but I don't know, it almost ruins a bit of authenticity there to Tomb for me. I don't know why they're not going around with more classic style guns.
I think
and then you can
go on.
You can believe that a lot more not working against the Cybermen then.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyway, yeah, what were you gonna say?
I would have liked something a bit like the ending of Tomb, that the Cybermen are still out there within the story.
So that then Big Finish can pick up on that in 40 years.
Yeah, 4 years time and do that.
Yeah.
But I do feel like it was a missed opportunity, that, to be honest, for me.
I mean, I suppose you do still have the controller back on Telos, which then leads into attack eventually in some way, shape, or form. But yeah, I know what you mean.
Because you feel then the Cybermen have a bit more of a presence going, oh, they always continue. They always survive. Because, you know, they're always saying we will survive. Well, blooming start surviving then.
Yeah, they don't do a great job of it.
No, not very good. Like, there's only really 2 Cybermen within the story, and yeah, it's not. Wanted a bit more cyber action, to be honest.
Yeah, it definitely does feel like this whole set for me sort of degraded over time, really. Like parts 1 and 2 of Secrets of Telos really enjoyed. Parts 3 and 4 I still enjoyed, but less so. And then God of War I found myself enjoying even less. So I think hopefully Auton Infinity doesn't continue that trend further, but yeah, we'll see. Should we rate?
Yeah, let's do a rating.
Yeah. Oh, we're on the same wavelength.
I feel like we
had those lines between our heads, like on Tomb.
For me, I'm really torn between a 7.5 or an 8.
Yeah, it's definitely around that area because parts 1 and 2 are absolutely brilliant. Parts 3 and 4 aren't bad, have their moments, but definitely do drag it down. And I think them being the final 2 parts, that's the taste that's left in your mouth. That sort of sours what came before, in a sense. But I still really love parts 1 and 2, so it feels wrong to then go and take that and give it anything too low. But I probably would say 7.5 is a fair rating.
Yeah, I'll go there. I think it's all right. It doesn't break. You have so much expectation for it because Tomb is so beloved, and yet it's
this anniversary box set as well.
Yeah,
so you expect them to really bring their A game.
I think Secret to Telos uses the Tomb Cybermen way more than what you get them in. No, not Secret to Telos. What is it? Is it Secret to Telos?
Return to Telos.
Return to Telos. That's it. I'm getting mixed up. Return
I
to Telos
prefer this
uses.
to Return to Telos, to be honest.
I think I'm the opposite.
Ah.
I think I prefer that because at least you get a Cyberman.
But even then, you don't get too much of them.
No, you don't get too much.
I feel like this has better Cybermen moments when it does have them.
Oh no, I think you've got the Cyberman bursting through like a flaming city, bursting through the wall. That's just too strong in my mind to let go.
Some of the creepy conversion stuff in this one, though.
Yeah, the animal stuff sort of threw me.
Oh no, I'm not talking about animal. I'm talking back on shit.
Oh, with like them, like the people in cryo.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay.
I think there's something quite haunting about that, especially when it's characters you know.
I mean, they could have used that a bit more, to be honest. Yeah, but 7.5 for both of us.
Yeah,
you've let slip. What you think of God of War?
Yeah, sort of did. I mean, we were sort of transitioning to it, so I thought,
yeah,
might as well
it's
give it
fair.
a bit of a mention. What about you?
This is the one I was probably more excited about.
I was more excited about Secrets, funnily enough. Yeah, go on.
I knew I'd be underwhelmed with that one, to be honest. I knew it's got that high expectation. I knew it wouldn't quite be what's in my mind. But this God of War, I'm an Ice Warrior fan, and I think that this story fell in the generic trappings of an Ice Warrior story.
It really is very straightforward, isn't it?
I was, when it was first announced, like, oh, shame that's not the 4-parter. But I don't think that has enough to sustain it to be a 4-parter.
Like even the 2 parts, it feels like it drags a bit. It feels like it doesn't have much to really do beyond like get the Ice Warriors out the ice, have a bit of massacre with them, and then defeat them.
Yeah, that's literally the story. Oh, we want men. We found our prayers have been answered. Oh, we're going to help the Ice Warriors get the Ice Warriors out. The ice. Oh, dear.
Adric gets a sudden random romance.
Yeah, which you like. No.
Yeah.
I think, like I said earlier, this story is strongest from the pretenses from Secret to Telos. That's when it starts to go. That's a nice little callback to that.
I feel like they drag out a few things in both stories, like the whole Adric twist, and then the Adric twist again, really, isn't it? It's everything Adric based. They sort of drip feed you throughout while also having this more straightforward story in God of War's case.
But it's such a weird thing to explain why the Fifth Doctor's attitude is to Adric by the time of the end of Earthshock, in a way. It explains that really more than anything.
Yeah, it makes you wonder how it's going to be resolved, this whole story, when we get to Autumn Infinity.
I was excited because in Castrovalva, the Fifth Doctor mentioned, "Oh, soon be there by the Ice Warrior Hive Brigadier." I was like, "Oh, this is the Ice Warrior Hive we get to see." But no, we don't get that at all.
Yeah, it is very, very Ice Warriors in the sense that they're just encased in another glacier.
Especially at the end where we've got like Nyssa's like sulfur, like the Second Doctor in the Ice Warriors has like a little sulfur thing, doesn't he? He makes it with the computer. Feels very
I quite liked that though as a resolution to it.
It's a way of getting out the 2-parter, but I think the problem is the Ice Warriors are often described as like space Vikings. This is Vikings, but not the Vikings we know, and I think it was a missed opportunity, and I think there is a better Ice Warrior Viking story out there. It's a 12th Doctor comic with the Flood, and that's a really good Ice Warrior comic. So it just feels like a real missed opportunity, really. Not actually having Vikings.
Yeah, it feels like too much of a rush, really, doesn't it? And then I feel like you could have had much more of like tensions between Ice Warriors and these Viking clan, couldn't you?
Yeah.
The Doctor tried to broker peace between them, but you don't really get that, sadly.
No. And I feel like the world as well where they're at, I felt very confused because it didn't feel isolated. It didn't feel, cold and harsh.
It
I
felt
didn't
very
pity.
small to me.
Yeah,
Like climbing a volcano should not be that quick. It takes quite a while. I've been to Iceland. I've been up a glacier.
Okay,
I know
yeah.
that this takes longer than that.
I mean, it did provide one good thing. I just like the idea of the Fifth Doctor and like Adric just letting an Ice Lord slide down
Yeah.
a volcano. That was the only joy I got out of it, to be honest. Oh,
Yeah, that's quite amusing.
but
Yeah, some of that as well. You do get some tonal inconsistencies within this one, don't you?
I did feel like it felt very season 19 with like Nyssa and the TARDIS with like a laboratory.
Oh yeah, that was good.
I liked that. I felt like this story probably has more of the 80s incidental music. Because I think Secrets to Telos very much felt like it was rehashing the cyber theme from Out of Time and
Yeah,
Monster
I wasn't a big
Metropolis.
fan of that. I think we discussed with James recently how a lot of Big Finish is sort of becoming homogenized in terms of sound. And this is an unfortunate example of that because it's very much that same Cyberman thing, like you say, Monster Metropolis and Out of Time 2.
I wanted
I'm
a
not
bit
sure
of
how
trumpet.
I feel about them keep using it.
It's like they're trying to make a Big Finish Cyberman theme across the board, like what Murray did. Like, oh, that's the Cyberman theme for Big Finish. That's like giving monsters a theme.
Yeah, and it's an all right theme. But when you've got it across different Doctors and such, it sort of takes away from it.
Yeah.
Really.
I wanted more trumpet.
Yeah, I want to say a bit more unique. I mean, you do get a little bit of tune callback, though. You get like that hypnotizing sound effect towards the end. In part 4.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
like when the machinery's on. Yeah, I like that. That's nice.
Yeah, that was a nice callback. Very nostalgic. But yeah, like you say, you get more of an 80s feel in this. And even if it's a rehash of the Ice Warriors in a way, this one feels much less 60s at least.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that does make it feel more like a celebration of the Fifth Doctor at least. But yeah, I mean, overall, it just feels like a missed opportunity, really, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think that's what hurts that story the most.
Yeah, and then also, like, even the Ice Lord himself sort of seems amicable at first.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, wait, this is a two-parter. I've got to do something more now. So it just feels like the Ice Warriors are evil for the sake of there being a story.
Yeah,
whereas, like we say, if you had this Viking clan and there being tensions between them a bit more, you can then feel much more sympathy for the Ice Warriors turning on them. If there is some like more hostilities from the Vikings themselves.
I did appreciate the Ice Warrior sound from Empress of Mars, like the gun sounds.
Yeah,
within it, because they had like a blend of like the new and old Ice Warrior sounds, which is all right. But yeah, the Ice Lord's the main focus of it. Like the Ice Warriors themselves aren't really doing anything, mainly because they're in the ice for half of the story, really.
I like the idea that the Ice Lord's lost his hand as well in the crash, and how that then plays into how they see him as this god because he like fits the legend. But then I don't know, is his hand meant to have been repaired?
Yeah, did they put it back on?
Yeah, because but then he talks about how he's lost it afterwards, I'm pretty sure. Because it just seems a bit awkward when you think about the events that happen with him in the climax. Surely he's got to have two hands there.
Yeah.
Or he's doing some very interesting trickery. I don't know. Like when I was trying to visualize that, I was thinking, wait, he's got one hand though, hasn't he? How is this working?
It's
How
a
is
claw.
he holding this and this?
Yeah.
Like it's
It's unless you've got like a little hook for like the vial. I don't know. Like little wires.
Who knows?
It's got in like the little hoop of circuitry. I don't know. It's a strange one. But yeah, should we rate?
Nitpick than anything else that little bit at the end there. But yeah, let's rate God of War.
I'm gonna go 7 for this. I think.
Oh, you go. I'm gonna go.
It's all right. It's all right.
I was leaning maybe towards 5, but I'll go 6.
Okay.
I'll be nice.
Okay. Oh yeah. Like the actual location of it felt very sort of Game of Thronesy, like with like the characters and like the daughters, but yeah,
you get a lot of that in part 1, and then it's all dropped in part 2.
Yeah, because most of them have been massacred, to be honest.
Yeah.
But yeah, you don't feel like you know the supporting cast anyway.
No, you really don't.
Like,
Like some good moments.
There are 11 daughters. There's no 11 daughters within this. It doesn't feel like there are. Like, you meant to pity them, but they're in this situation that their mother, killed their father because, couldn't give her a son or whatever. But you don't really feel sympathy for them because you don't know everyone individually. You only know 2 of them, really.
Yeah, and I mean, sometimes that can work. Like, Last of the Romanovs, that manages to portray a whole family very well, despite you only seeing 2 of them. But yeah, I mean, it helps that they're off screen, whereas these ones are very much on screen, but just there.
Yeah.
So I think you just needed more of that community, more world building there beforehand to really get into what's going on here with them. Because it's very much explained to you that it's hi ho, it's stick out the Histori as we go.
Yeah, literally. Oh no, we're massacred. Oh well. It's so bizarre. But yeah, I think the story, what it does with the knowledge the Fifth Doctor's gained, that's good.
Yeah. Some great little conversations with him and Adric.
Especially towards the end with Adric's madly in love now.
That again, something that's very rushed through. Very quickly moved on from.
It's like, oh, you wouldn't like it without technology. It's like, yeah, you're right. Get back in the box. It's literally that.
Back in the box, you stupid boy.
You're gonna die soon. Get back in. I'm gonna make sure you do die. Oh dear. But
like something more could have been done there. I think it's interesting that we got Adric in the next box set though.
He's definitely going to be an Auton duplicate. Gotta be.
Yeah, it could be.
It's going to be Auton duplicate.
Yeah. I imagine the same for Nissa. Because surely it would be Tegan. Because you got a Chameleon as well around. So
it wouldn't be old Nissa though, would it? They wouldn't do that.
No. Especially not with Chameleon, because that's before they meet Chameleon.
Yeah.
You know, it's going to be interesting to see who's behind it all, who's dragging the Doctor around. I mean, any theories?
Ainley. It's gonna be Ainley.
Yeah, I'm feeling that.
It's gotta be. It's the only obvious thing you can think of. It's like, oh, John Coleshaw's definitely involved, so yeah, they're gonna go for that. They're gonna play. Oh, it wouldn't surprise me when 42's covers revealed that we get Ainley on the cover.
Yeah, I could see that.
Like that's gonna be part of like the updated press, like the Annihilators.
Oh yeah, that could be it.
I think we're definitely gonna see that. Have you got any other theories, hopes, or whatever? But it's good.
No, not really. Yeah, that. Yeah, I definitely am leaning more into Ainley. Really, I think that seems to be the obvious way to go with it. But it'd be nice to be surprised by it. Yeah, I think. It's just the long wait now, 9 months.
That's the problem. I think that's what's really going to be a test. If Auton Infinity's a banger, which I hope it is, because it's a 6-parter, and I think it's by Tim Foley, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
And he's a writer we've praised a lot from last year, so I'm really hopeful for it. I'm hopeful for it, and I hope that we don't get pissed on the arse by it.
Yeah.
Though I enjoyed 40, I did leave it feeling a bit underwhelmed. Like I enjoyed what I was given.
Because the best parts were towards the start, and then it diminishes as you go on.
Like I don't think it's a bad box set. It's just there are better Fifth Doctor content out there.
And again, it very much does hang on how 42 is going to resolve all this. How the Auton Infinity plays out. Because if that's brilliant, all is forgiven with 41.
Yeah.
If that sucks, then you're sort of left with not much great content for the Fifth Doctor this year, sadly.
Like, I feel like if it was out March or April, I'd be a bit more forgiving. But because, like I said, the box set doesn't really end on a note where you're like, I really want to find out. Maybe that's a blessing because we're not always gonna have to wait. But you want something to hook you, going, all right, I really want to know how this is going to resolve. Who's behind it? Like even like a little glimpse of like a pre-credit scene of like the person
just like
behind
where
it.
he ends, or just where he ends up next time.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's going to be interesting having him meet Turlo probably because he doesn't know him yet.
Hmm.
So like with Secrets to Telos, he's thrown forward, but he's meeting two companions he already knows just at later points. Now we're going to get a new companion or even two with Chameleon. So that's got a lot more potential there.
Yeah, that's 40. That pretty much on the same page, really.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Pretty much.
Yeah, so not quite disappointed, but not in awe of it either. Not
I
as
can see
great as
myself
we
going
hoped.
back to it, but it's not one I'd rush back to.
Especially Secrets of Telos. That's one I can see myself revisiting.
I mean, maybe it's one of those stories that will benefit a re-listen because you know how it's going to change.
Yeah, you know what to expect, don't you? So you're not going to be as caught out by it.
But then again, are you going to be hoping, I wish it stayed as like 1 and 2? I don't know.
Yeah,
it's an awkward one.
Pain Cyberman, very middling. Hopefully 42 will up the ante, especially since it's got the Autons. Yeah, hopefully. I mean, Autons haven't been done much at all on Big Finish, have they?
I want to say twice. Brave New Town and Unit Extinction. I might be forgetting one, but I know those are the two from memory. If there are more, than pop in the chat. There might be like a Bernie Summerfield one or something like
that. Pain Cyberman says 40 was honestly not a bad set. Sorry, I'm sort of reading your comments in reverse here.
No, it's fine.
God are polished stories that you can listen. Well, it's not you that should apologize.
Right, sorry, I thought you took on
I'm apologizing
carry on.
to. I'm apologizing to Pain Cyberman.
Carry on.
I read his second comment about 40 and then now go back to the first. 40 was honestly not a bad set. Secrets and God are polished stories that you can listen to and have fun with, but it's definitely not the best of the best for Big Finish. Yeah, I can see that. Oh, Torture Story has Autons.
Oh, yeah, Cigarso.
Yeah, you listened to that one as well.
There's a reason why I forgot that. It's not very good.
Stylus One says 41 has one of my favorite Fifth Doctor covers. It's superb. I love it so much, and it has a Cyberman design on it that isn't the Invasion Cyberman design. Yes, very true. We do love our Tube Cyberman design, and the voice as well is brilliant.
I think that's what lets it down. You think they're so nice on the cover. Why aren't you in the story that much? Yeah, that cover's grown on me, actually. I do like it, and I look forward to seeing how it is on a CD.
Yeah. Also, Stylus One says when we talk about Return to Telos, that's a hot take. Return to Telos is one I've seen slated by many people. It's got like 4 or 5 on the timescales, and I've barely seen a good review of it. What? Wow.
Maybe I'm just going to defend. I don't know.
I
enjoy
prefer
it.
Fate of Krelos, to be honest. I don't, which I think might be slated even more.
We're just odd. We're in our own little bubble.
I mean, if you like Return to Telos, hopefully that's a good sign for the Annihilators.
Maybe.
Yeah, second Doctor suddenly crashing into a different era.
Oh, don't get me started. Oh, dear. Not checked Eye Chameleon out yet, I'm afraid, so can't comment on it.
All right. With that, should we transition into the news then?
Yes, what a good little segue.
Yeah. Because that's sort of our first news article, isn't it?
Yeah.
A little bonus that we weren't expecting. So maybe this will be brilliant.
Yeah.
And it'll make the purchase of 40 worthwhile.
Because that's the thing what sort of confused me. Is it like an interlude of 40?
I think interludes is just what they're calling it.
Hmm,
I saw
okay.
John Dorney say on Twitter that this isn't actually tied to 40 at all. It's just a separate little Fifth Doctor story. I mean, it could surprise us, but I don't think so.
Yeah. So we've got Chameleon by Dominic G. Martin, who does the Doctor Who fan films and audio. So I think this is his first writing credit. He produced Paladin.
Yeah. And that's not out yet, so this would be a first thing for Big Finish,
Yeah.
technically, I imagine. And read by Dan Starkey as well. It's always a shame not got John Colshaw in there.
Yeah, I think that's
No
the
offense
thing.
to Dan, but Chameleon.
I feel like I'd be more inclined to go straight to it 'cause it's John Coleshaw, but it'd be interesting to see Dan Starkey's interpretation of it all. I'm sure he's a brilliant reader.
Yeah. Especially his voices for the Fifth and Doctor and Turlough. But yeah, interludes. It's more than a short. I think that's what they're calling these because they're more than a short trip. They're
It's
now
an
like an
hour,
hour
isn't it?
long. Yeah, it's got its own cover as well. Like we never got that with
Oh.
subscriber short trips. So this is more than we got for Secrets of Telos and God of War. They
Yeah.
get their own individual ones. But yeah, it's not quite an audio novel because it's not
7
6.5
hours.
hours.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it's like a nice little bonus that we weren't really expecting. I think it's nice to fill that gap with the subscriber short trips.
It was
Especially with something
unexpected,
a bit-
actually.
Yeah.
I didn't expect it.
Especially with something a bit different as well. Because it is an hour long. Hopefully there is more time to tell more well-rounded stories. Whereas short trips, you get very hit or miss stories, don't you?
I guess it will be like a 2-parter then, wouldn't it? Maybe a half an hour each
Yeah,
part.
I wonder if it is divided like that at all.
Be interesting.
again,
I'll have to
yeah.
check it.
I
if
mean,
anyone's
certainly the
listened to it,
MP3s doesn't have any files on it, so
okay. I mean, if anyone's listened to it in the chat, let us know. Be interested. See if it's good. But there's another 2, isn't there?
yeah. Oh, Ryan Hindley said it's decent enough, nothing great, but worth a listen in regards to Chameleon. That's fair enough. I mean, we've got it, so we might as well listen to it at some point.
And then
Payne Cyberman says, I like that they're really pushing these audiobook style stories and nice alternatives to subscribe short trips. Yeah, it's nice to have a little bit extra thrown in there.
I mean, do you get it if you just buy the box set or the bundle, or do you just automatically get it if you buy Fifth Doctor 40 on its own?
I think it's with Fifth Doctor 40 on its own. That's what it seems to say there, isn't it, at the bottom? So it's the first box.
So I wasn't sure if it was like when you subscribe that you're guaranteed them, or if you include that release, you get it. I'm not quite sure how it works.
I feel like maybe they should include it on both, like Fifth Doctor, Sixth Doctor, and Seventh Doctor ones.
Yeah.
Just to be like, I mean, it doesn't affect us. We're getting them all anyway. But I think it'd be nice for the people who maybe don't want, say, Silver and Ice, but do want the next Seventh Doctor set to still be able to get that.
Yeah. So the other one's available on Sixth Doctor title to be announced, which is May 2022. Then Seventh Doctor Silver and Ice. June.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? We got this huge gap between them, and then we're going to get 2 in a row.
Yeah, and then there are no plans for 8th and 9th Doctor and first. Well, no Third Doctor. So is the Third Doctor part of it? Does he get an interlude? Where's the second Doctor?
It's just like in general the Doctors after that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, no plans for additional interludes at this moment. But yeah, I suppose maybe as we go on, they might like mix it up maybe each year, have it like few different Doctors.
That'd be nice.
Because it seems the way it's going to be is that it will be a 6th Doctor and 7th Doctor story for the interlude.
Next, because the subscriber short trips sort of varied each Doctor, wasn't it?
Yeah, like they weren't even limited by the main range Doctors. They could be
it'd be
or at least any of the 1 to 8.
That's all we really can say on the interludes at the minute. Only speculate. I'm sure we'll listen to them, and I'm sure they'll be on a tier list soon.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, I imagine they're going to be as like we're not going to find out about them until the day of the release, like Chameleon.
Because that was a surprise, really, because we didn't know they were happening. And then I saw a post on Facebook, and I was like, "Oh, it's a fan-made cover." and then check Twitter like half an hour later. It's like, oh, it's real. Okay, cool.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, because you just sent the image bit to the group chat, and I was like, oh, what's this? What's going on here?
Yeah. But it's its own little range now.
Mm.
Should we move on to the last bit of news?
Yeah, let's go for it.
Hot off the press, I guess.
Cyberman's also just said, oh, way more accessible. Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you just have to buy one set rather than spending 65 to 130 quid. Feels
Yeah.
like I've not really even dived into that many subscriber short trips, even though I've got them.
I've dabbled into a couple, but I can't say I've listened to them all.
I feel like as well, you never really get synopsises for them or anything. You don't know necessarily what they're about. You've got no cover art to draw you in, and then they're just sort of thrown at you in your account, aren't they? At random times, like you
They're
don't
quite
even
late
get them
as well.
on the day of release.
Hmm.
Yeah, like sometimes you have to wait a month after the release for them to be added.
Yeah, it's like when they add like the music suite and like extra behind the scenes. That's when they get added. You're like, I've listened to the story. Do I want to download it again just to listen to the story? But now they've added like the feature on the app to add like bonus stuff. I probably feel more inclined to go back to it. But again, we've got so much stuff to look forward to. You don't have a chance to look back. But I'm wondering what's going to fill the void now until the next box set. Now we've finished 40 so soon.
Well, we've got quite a few things coming up just this month, haven't we?
Yeah. So it's like
Peloton and Eighth Doctor to look forward to.
What time? How much time do we have before we can dive into the next box set? So yeah, it would be nice to have an actual like release schedule from Big Finish. But again, I do like the idea of just it randomly dropping and like, oh, I can listen to that tonight.
But yeah, speaking of something that's going to randomly drop one day, A Brave New World for Unix Brigadier, but not the one we were expecting.
The article is really interesting because they're making out that Angela Bruce has never played Bambera since Battlefield. Have they forgot Animal, the lost story?
I mean,
Like,
it's lost, so
It is, well, you explain their mindset, which it's a very good lost story, actually. Best of the season 27 ones, actually. I really did like that one.
Actually, I'm surprised they didn't just go and stick that on sale.
I would have put that on sale.
Like, we had the Peloton stories on sale after the Peloton announcement, so
They could just do an Angela Bruce sale.
yeah, I mean, she's recently done War Doctor, hasn't she? I think that's one of the other funny things, isn't it? Like, we saw that we knew she wasn't going to be Bambera in Warbringer. We were sort of like thinking, so she's still around. She's still around in the sense that she's working with Big Finish. Not, I don't think she died or anything. Yeah, it's like this funny thought of, why haven't you got her back for more? And then suddenly she's getting her own series.
It just makes perfect sense, to be honest. And you feel like, why didn't they do this earlier?
I feel like they maybe should have led into it with a 7th Doctor box set, though. Like, just had her be alongside there.
Or even a main range, to be honest.
Yeah, you could have even done it back then.
You could have done like Grey Man, Brigadier, and Bambera. That would have been interesting.
Yeah, speaking of Brigadier, hopefully get John Colshaw in here as well for an episode.
I think that's inevitable. So we've got 2 box sets.
Yeah.
June and November, but you said it's changed to December on the website?
Yeah, the article says November, but when you click on it, it definitely switched to December, which makes sense because Unit Nemesis 3 is scheduled for November, so don't want to have too much unit in 1 month.
So it's 3 stories. Rogue State by Robert Valentine, Time Flies by Alison Winter, and Dark Side of the Moon by Alfie Shaw.
Alison Winter making her Big Finish debut there.
Is she done it? Is that her first story, is it?
Yeah.
I feel like she's done an 11th Doctor Chronicle, I feel.
Or
is this?
I don't
know.
I saw her out on...
No,
Yeah.
This is her first
She
thing.
put out on Twitter saying it's her first.
Okay. But yeah, I think tonally they want to push the 90s feel, which great thing to push.
Yeah, hopefully they do capitalize on that.
It's set late 90s. The Cold War is over. Geopolitics landscape is in flux. The Millennium will fast approach. So that'd be nice to play with like the Millennium Bug sort of fear.
Mm. Yeah.
I think if they really lean into that, I think it'll be something quite special.
Yeah, I can see that. I suppose it's like a real throwback for Big Finish in general because it's when they started.
Yeah. So
It
will
could
the
have
audio
a
be
very
like dodgy? Will it be
Who knows?
recorded in the toilet? I mean, by the picture, it doesn't look like it's recorded in a toilet.
No, I'm sure it'd be very high quality.
It'd be very high
Like
quality.
tonally, it could feel like maybe a throwback to early days of Big Finish, especially because this is something you think would have been done in the early days of Big Finish.
Well, we did have like a unit series, with David Tennant, but that it seems like that's just been pushed aside. And I said to you before we started streaming that I feel like Unit's getting the master treatment, where every iteration of Unit is probably going to end up having a box set. We're probably going to see Brigg, Benton, and Yates box set at some point. Are we going to see Klein introduced to the Bambera series because she was 90s?
Could we get Benton back in the Bambera series? There's lots of. Could we get Liz back?
Yeah, like an older Liz. That'd be interesting.
Because she's one of the companions we don't really know much about what she did after leaving. We got a
feel
bit
like-
in Primord, but that's like more immediate rather than long term.
I think there are going to be some hooks into this. I think there are going to be some things where you go, bang, get you into this.
I think it's very much what they did with Worlds of Blake 7 as well. Like have spin-off with Colin Baker's character, Bayban. But nevertheless, it's still got a couple of the original cast members in there.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I could see something similar happening here.
Do you think McCoy will feature in any of these?
I'd say no. I feel like they will keep McCoy out of it at least. Because to be fair, they've never had a Doctor in the Unit in the new series.
I'm surprised they haven't, actually. Maybe because they don't have access to the Doctors, what Kate interacts with.
Remember when we originally thought that one of the Unit sets could have been Third Doctor and Joe, because like we knew they'd recorded with
Yeah.
Tim and Katie, but it ended up being Legacy
Legacy
of
of
Time.
Time.
Yeah. And that was sort of like a fun time speculating a whole box set of that.
Yeah. Yeah. Turned out to be the best story of Legacy of Time. So, yeah. I mean, are you going to pick this one up?
I think I'm leaning towards yes. We'll see what the descriptions, cover art, and trailer do for me. But at the moment, I'm leaning more towards a yes. How about you?
I think this has the same sort of curiosity feel like the Eric Roberts box it has. It's like,
Again,
it's an
90s,
interesting
isn't
thing.
it?
Yeah. It's definitely one what intrigues me. I am going to pick it up, but yeah, I'm definitely intrigued to know where it goes, what's going to be the hook within it. To be honest, I really like Battlefield. I think it's quite an underrated story. So
I was just about to ask that. What's your opinion on it? I do have a lot of fun with it as well.
I feel like it might be my third favorite McCoy story. I just have a lot of fun with it. I have a lot of fun with it. I like the sort of high-tech medieval knight. Morgaine great the Destroyer, though really not used to his full potential. Great design.
Do you think we could see that style of music in here as well? Like you
I hope
definitely had
so.
it's always the same theme there. So yeah,
For like the theme music, it would be wonderful. I feel like it's going to be a very different Unit, because I think this Battlefield was like the first story where Unit felt global. If that makes sense, with like different, staff members.
It definitely does feel like an attempt to start something new as well. Like it feels like this handing over the reins with this with the old Brigadier there. It's all like his last call out of retirement, and he's finally done. Meanwhile, you're introducing this new Brigadier, and so with that, it feels like there's the potential that this character could return. I think she did return in Animal. Was that originally planned for the TV show as well? Was she gonna?
I would guess so, since it's part of the original season 27.
Yeah, like you never know how much they would have changed, but yeah, I'd imagine so. So you could sort of see that as the handing over the reins, but then we never really got to see that taken anywhere until now. Yeah, and hopefully they keep with like the rather more, like you say, it's Unit feeling more global. It's Unit feeling more multicultural as well.
Yeah,
And like if something like this were to happen today, a lot of the Not My Doctor crowds would be freaking out. Like battlefields. Where's this? SJW's gone mad.
Stupid. It's so stupid.
They've got a female black brigadier. What's going on with the world?
I'm sure there were people who were in that little camp back in the
Yeah, I
80s.
imagine
I'm
so.
sure there are people out there. It's just they
But
didn't
then
have a
they love it
platform to-
now. Because,
Yeah,
because they're hypocrites. But yeah, we won't get too political.
yeah. We won't go down that path tonight. But
Let's
yeah.
see. Thoughts in the chat on Bambera returning, guys?
Yeah, it'd be interesting to know. Is this going to be a pickup for you? Is it going to be a pass? There's a lot happening this year, so I can understand what would be a pass, but it's definitely something what Big Finish should have done earlier.
Yeah. Especially, or at least used her more with the Seventh Doctor, like giving the Seventh Doctor more unit stories. Oh, Painside Man. Whoa, the brig is a black woman. How could they erase white men? Very much the reaction.
Oh, dear.
Animal was changed a fair bit since it was meant to possibly be McCoy's regeneration stories, this stylish one. Yeah, I think that was like the last one that was the least refined, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Because they mixed up the order with it as well, didn't they? In the and also they changed 3-parters to 4-parters. So
yeah, because I think Earthfade was going to be the second or first one actually.
I think Earthfade was first, then Thin Ice, which would have read out Ace, and then you would have had Crime of the Century introducing Rain, and then it would have been Animal last. But I think even back then they weren't necessarily set on the last story yet by the time they were cancelled.
Painsworm, God, I hate that crowd. How do they even get into a show like this? I don't know, but they're just silly people. They're just gammons.
Yeah,
they're just
it's
silly people.
Yeah, Stylish One, this new unit set looks great, but I'll wait for story details and reviews. That's fair enough.
That's fair.
As we say, there's only so much you can buy
to go around.
Yeah, you can't throw your money at every single thing as much as we might want to.
Thoughts on the unrecorded return to Cybermen post-credit scene explaining Return of Cybermen? Yeah, it's a shame they didn't use that. They didn't use that little clip to make them both.
Maybe it's like a downloadable bonus scene or something. Maybe not as an actual post-credit scene. Like it's just a little funny. Is it canon? Is it not? Up to you guys to decide, sort of way.
Yeah.
I mean, with that, at least you can sort of get away with saying the time ring has something to do with it as well, like as to why there ends up being 2 versions of this story. But at the end of the day, canon's not something to take too seriously with Doctor Who. You just gotta let it be sometimes and accept that not everything lines up.
Yeah,
and just enjoy stories for what they are, stories.
Yeah. And it's just an alternative take on a story we already have on our shelves.
It doesn't mess with anything else beyond that. It's just you've got like this fork in the road that comes back together again afterwards as you go along.
Yeah.
They occupy the same space.
Yeah. Mel, how are you feeling about the next Eccleston Big Finish in February? Oh, somebody's been listening. Somebody's been paying attention to my ramblings. It's very exciting. Very exciting to have Eccleston.
Another break back there.
Another brig back.
That'll be interesting because that'll be only 5 years after the Bambera set, technically, if they do go for the 2004 setting.
I'd be interested, actually. Girlfriend point. Yeah, you got girlfriend points. Another Bueno on the list. But yeah,
maybe you should have like Buenos in the background. You like stack them up each.
Should do.
Yeah, like next to Davison there. And
should do, like build the Bueno army. Yeah. If you want to get real girlfriend points, not saying that you've got fake girlfriend points in a minute, but listening to Eccleston, you get the points then.
It's like it's the drips at the moment. You got to turn on the tap and let the flood of Buenos.
The flood of Buenos. You're just getting like a cube of Bueno each time. But if you want the full Bueno, got to listen to it. Oh, that's the best idea, Luke. What a legend.
Oh dear.
Oh no, don't. We're encouraging this behaviour. Oh no.
We're gonna bankrupt you.
That's
Big
what
Finish
a
and Buenos.
that's what a relationship does. It makes you bankrupt. Oh dear, I'm gonna get slapped now, but it's okay.
Oh, dear.
Oh,
You'll get
I
to
will
listen
absolutely
to
listen to it. All right,
Sorry.
you're on. You got a deal. You can listen to it. Got to listen to all 4 box sets. You can listen to
Join
them
us
on
for
the
the tier
train.
list.
Yeah, then you can join us for a tier list. I'm walking through Heaton Park and it's full of shit. Oh dear. All right.
Parasite in chief in their idiot hat.
Eccleston's Insta when that day happens is gonna be something else. Something else.
It's gonna be fantastic.
I mean, I am excited for not Absent Friends, old Friends. Is it? What's the title?
I thought you were talking about the Queen dying.
No, God no. Long may she reign,
Oh,
and we shall play the national anthem at the end of every day.
God. Just speaking that seems to it's had an
See,
effect on me. She's
You're
coming
being
for me.
poisoned. Being put MI5 onto you.
Oh, no.
Oh dear. I mean, if you listen to the Eccleston audios, Mel, you can be a guest star. And just be bewildered going, what? I don't remember that happening. Where else are we in the old chat?
Favorite E-Space arc, says Stylish One. Season 18 or 4th Doctor Adventures Series 9 or 5th Doctor E-Space Trilogy?
I'd probably say 5th Doctor E-Space.
No, I may be leaning more towards 4th Doctor Adventures Series 9.
Okay, all right.
I think there's a lot of fun. There's more fun to be had there in a sense. Well, that's more of a comfortable listen. I'd say maybe 5th Doctor E-Space is the higher quality.
Mm-hmm.
But in terms of which one I'd more go to as a comfort listen, which one I feel like I'm more likely to pick off and have fun with, it would be 4th Doctor Series 9.
I mean, Chase for Night, definitely worth it.
Yeah. And then, even then, it's not too full on a comfort listen. It does have its dark moments.
Yeah, yeah. Pain, Simon, woe, Ben, you're excited about the Queen. I mean, if that's what you think. Well, whatever floats your boat, I guess. Oh dear, oh dear. Full of Bono listening to the best Eccleston audiobook that starts with "I'm walking through Heaton Park." That's how Eccleston should introduce his Big Finish.
You get like that little jingle that goes, but instead of Nick saying "Big Finish" for the love of stories, it's "I'm walking through Heaton Park."
This audio is full of shit. Oh, that needs to happen now.
We'll make the edit.
We'll make the edit. We'll make it happen. Hopefully, we'll see more rain in the new unit spin-off, and hopefully sort out the situation with Andrew Cartmel. Yeah, it'd be interesting to use more rain, actually.
Yeah.
Don't have much
I wonder
about
what
it.
is going on.
But apparently, there's no dilemma between them, according to Andrew Cartmel. Apparently, there's no beef between them. But I don't know.
No.
It's weird. One.
I think maybe it is more that he just wants to use her for his own thing, because he did have a couple of things going on, didn't he? Doctor Who related at one point, but I don't know.
I feel like that's just dried up if he had any plans, because I don't think we've seen the light of day of them.
Did he do anything else after that? Season 17?
No, I don't think he's done any more for Big Finish.
Yeah, no, what's the most? I just searched him, just looking for the most recent. Oh, he's done something in Bernie Summerfield's. Oh, he's one of the readers of that.
Is he?
Yeah, it's one of the Bernie Summerfield Treasury for the 20th anniversary of Benny. It's an audiobook collection. One of them's by Stephen Moffat as well. I think it's like classic stories. So it's like older ones they had. But nevertheless, there's even one by Terrence Dicks. I had no idea Terrence Dicks even knew who Benny was.
Yeah. I'm sure it'd be a good old faithful Terrence Dicks story.
But yeah, so yeah, he's both written and read that one. I imagine it's him reading it. I don't see why they'd have him reading an audiobook collection that has one of his audiobooks in it, and he's not the one reading it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But yeah, so as for actual writing, I think he wrote that a while back there.
Mel, what is one of the Big Finish stories you could listen to on repeat and never get bored of? Ooh, that's a good question.
Oh, not God of War.
Not a Fifth Doctor 40.
No.
Not that box. That sadly will probably go on the shelf and go, that was Fifth Doctor 40 Part 1. In terms of other, I don't know. I feel like Dalek Universe. I feel I could never get bored of that. I just enjoy the ride of it.
Especially the final two-parter.
I'm just trying to think of the ones that I've re-listened to, and I think are definitely worth diving back
Poison of
in.
Daleks, funny enough. I don't think it's the best, but I do find myself drawn back to it quite a bit.
I feel like it's more down to like the vibes of the story, to be honest. Like it's not like the perfect of stories, but I get it. I see it.
Yeah.
Maybe
Unzal incursion. I think a lot of Third Doctor stuff has that quality to it.
Yeah, I feel like Unzal, Scourge of Cyberman, even though it's 7 hours. I don't know. Just like
I think the plus side of Scourge of Cybermen, re-listening to that is because it is so long. By the time you go back to the start of it, you've not already forgotten, but it already feels fresh enough.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So yeah, maybe Scourge of Cybermen would be the one I could listen to on and on. Especially John Coleshaw reading it.
Yeah, John Coleshaw's a brilliant audiobook reader. Which are you most looking forward to this year? First Doctor Adventures, Sixth Doctor, or Eighth Doctor Adventures? I guess the Eighth Doctor stuff includes Charlie.
Yeah, maybe. That's right. In terms of Eighth Doctor itself, we don't really know enough about that yet. But yeah, if you include Charlie, that's
Stranded 4.
Yeah. I mean, maybe Sixth Doctor, because we got a new companion there.
Yeah, hopefully that'll be like a revitalization for Colin.
So that's something he's neat. I feel like maybe he does after the last year. It just sort of feel like they've lost their way and don't know quite what to do with Colin.
But I think the problem with Colin is there's so many new companions. Where do you stop?
Yeah, I think you can at least wrap some of the old ones up first.
That's what I feel like. If you can wrap up Flip and Constance, even like the old Perry stuff with Flip going back to find old Perry, there's so much stuff up in the air. But I'm sure we'll fall in love with the new companion with Colin. One Doctor's that story. I'm honestly amazed it took until now to get a Bambera spin-off. We got Tales from New Earth, Lady Christina, and the Church of Years before that.
Yeah,
that's mad. That is crazy to think about.
I think it's also new series spin-offs tend to do a bit better, don't they?
But then again, you think Big Finish is more orientated to the classic series fan.
Yeah.
Like, I would say Big Finish's main geographic are people over like 40.
Yeah, probably. I do feel like there's a growing younger audience though.
I think ever since maybe I feel like we're probably part of that surge, but I think for the vast majority, Big Finish is for main target.
Oh, I saw a funny comment on Facebook actually. Someone was saying I might have to come out of retirement soon so that I can afford all the Big Finish I want.
Jeez.
Pensions obviously not doing it.
Oh dear.
Yeah. Big Finishers for all sorts.
I mean, that is the thing. And like listening to 40, it sort of has rekindled not my love of Big Finish, but it's made me get excited about Big Finish again.
Yeah, like in terms of the relaunch, I'm
Hmm.
excited for the potential of these new Doctors going forward. It does feel like start of something.
Like I wouldn't say I was at Big Finish fatigue, but I think we're on the cusp of so many interesting ideas, and this has been a vision of Big Finish for got to be at least 5-6 years now, hasn't it? Ever since we got the double bills back in 2016, was it?
It feels like something's finally being realised, isn't it? And they finally have a clear direction.
Yeah.
Especially for like the last 9 months post monthly range. Like we've been loving Dalek Universe and such, but it doesn't feel like there's like structure to it. Now we're finally getting more of that. We're getting more of a clear direction for each Doctor with their own range, and that's exciting.
Everything feels a bit more integrated.
Hmm.
I feel like last year, once the main range was over, it was like, here's some box sets to fill the void until next year. Granted, we got Eccleston and Dalek Universe, which we all praised, but you did feel like the classic Doctors were lacking. You feel like we were waiting for them to get their own box set to be at this point now.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah, no, it's good to finally get that. And I do like the mixing of 4 and 2-parters. That seems to be the main combination at the moment. But yeah, just different lengths in general is exciting because that's what a lot of classic Who was. It wasn't all 4-parters. Granted, a lot more of it was going longer into 6-parters and such, not too many 2-parters. But nevertheless, it's good getting that variety.
I think my main worry was with the relaunch and the loss of the main range was that authentic 4-parter, because I like having a 4-part traditional Doctor Who. I wasn't too
It's
keen
very
on
much
just
quintessential, isn't it?
Yeah, and I was scared that it would just be all 1-hour stories and we'd lose it. I know a lot of people probably favour the hour stories, but I think I speak for me and you here that we do like the slow building stories. Yeah.
Yeah, we do like being able to sit down and not be daunted by a whole story in one go. We can listen to part 1 and then see how we feel and maybe continue on with part 2 after that.
Yeah, I do find it amazing how people can just, as soon as a Big Finish box set drop and like finish it the same day. I'm like, wow,
Yeah.
savor it, enjoy it, you know?
I mean, we've gone through this one quite quickly for us, haven't we?
Well, for our standards, yeah. But Tuesday, so yeah.
I mean, it's not, I don't feel like I've rushed it. I don't feel
No.
I'm going to get indigestion.
No.
But yeah.
Big Finish's demographic are stupidly huge fans of funny British Stockholm syndrome. With way too much disposable income. I'm one of them. We're all that group. We're all that group.
You sort of get to a point where if it's only another 20 quid, it won't hurt. And then you just try not to think about how many 20 quids you spent in the year.
I think my problem is I'm like, we'll do a stream on it, and that kind of that's my justification. Like, oh, we talk about it doing one of these, so that's my way of thinking. Oh, at least I get something out of it. Even if it's bad, I'm like, well, at least I can do a stream talking about it or review.
Yeah, we could have a fun chat about it at least.
Yeah, it provides entertainment, and
it's like an outlet, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think that's a good thing about these streams and us talking, because we're like, well, I've got nobody else I can talk to about it. It's nice to have a bit of a community to talk about it all, really.
Yeah. I'll just speaking of the like 4-part format and such. We know a lot of these box sets seem to be sticking with that, or sticking with like the half-hour parts in the relaunch. We also know that the 8th Doctor and Charlie box set is going to be 2-parters now. Do you think the 8th Doctor Adventures box sets for the relaunch are going to go back to just 1 hour? Or do you think we could see some like back in half-hour format for the 8th Doctor and different lengths of stories?
I think this is more of a hope. I think we'll move away from the big overarching stories.
Yeah, I can see that, definitely.
I think we'll have at least 1 or 2 box sets where that's just a bit like Ravenous, the way that started. I feel like we'll have some more stories like that. But in terms of format, I think they're going to strip him back to like the Lucy Miller stuff. I feel like we are going to go back to the 1 hour straight story.
Yeah, I can see that, to be honest. Also, I feel like it would be weird if we are sticking with Liv, Helen, and Andy and what's Rebecca? Tanya.
Tanya.
Yeah. I feel like it'll be weird then going back to 4-parters with them.
Yeah.
Especially for an extended period, I do feel like
I do feel like
stick with hour-long stories.
I feel like the Charlie one should have been 4-parters. But again, we haven't listened to the box set yet, so we can't say if that story had the legs to be a 4-parter.
Yeah. I think in a way I like getting 4 hour-long stories because that really gives you a fresh feel of the whole era.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas with 2 4-parters, you might not necessarily get that same range.
Yeah,
but yeah, I can see what you mean authenticity-wise. I mean, I wouldn't mind it maybe split up, have it be the 8th Doctor relaunch.
Yeah.
So that'd be 6 discs worth and divide them up similar to 40 in that sense. Have it be like maybe 2 4-parters, 2 2-parters, maybe even 4 3-parters.
I think that for me was like the obvious choice for McGann, do a Charlie box set, but it's going to be something completely different now because why would he have a box set celebrating 20 years of 8 and Charlie and then do it in the relaunch?
I mean, the amount of mail we're getting, you never know. But yeah,
that is true.
I do feel like it would be something different in the relaunch. And I feel like continuing on with whatever happens post Stranded will be that. I mean, yeah, we're talking about all this. We've still got Stranded to finish. I mean,
I feel like I'm finished with Stranded, even though we've got another box set.
Yeah,
I feel like
exactly.
I'm done with it.
Did you finish Stranded 3, by the way?
No, I've not. I want to revisit that whole box set, so maybe that's my void between 8 and Charlie. I don't know. Maybe that's my void between the next Big Finish release for me.
Yeah, I've still got the last 2 stories to go, Snow and what just happened, is it?
Yeah. Arguably 2021 Big Finish has been Big Finish's most creative and different years. So random stuff, random ideas, basically them doing anything they wanted. I'd agree with that. I think 2021's probably been the year I've been most excited as a Big Finish listener. In terms of stuff, because I think we said on the tier list, but it was the Big Finish for our generation of fan. I think that's what appealed to me. The idea of having David Tennant every couple of months and Christopher Eccleston, it felt something what I dreamed about when I got into Big Finish.
Yeah, very much. Like you say, it's the year for our generation, isn't it, really? But still with plenty for the old generation as well.
For the person getting out of retirement.
Yeah. I thought a lot of people have sort of reached a point. They knew what Big Finish did for the 6th Doctor, for example, how they redeemed him. I think a lot of people getting into Big Finish around when it was first starting up in 1999-2000 were probably more 3rd and 4th Doctor fans. That was really their era. And so getting the 6th Doctor redeemed like that, they probably wanted to see the same for the 9th and 10th Doctors. Not necessarily redeemed, but something they can enjoy a bit more.
Yeah.
Something they could get into, because it's like this marriage with Big Finish of classic, new, and Big Finish's own style, really. Hello to you in America, Pain Cyberman.
Hello. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, do you get your Big Finish download only, or do you go CD? Because I think that could get very expensive, can't it, over there?
Or do you get it from an independent outlet?
Yeah, I think there are a couple, aren't there? Yeah, it'd be interesting. Yeah. How you consume it, I guess, in that sense.
Yeah, that's because you only think of like the UK, really, but
we're in our own little bubble when we talk about
that's
Doctor
it.
Who and Big Finish.
I think that's the joy of YouTube, that you can reach people in different countries and get a way broader spectrum of opinions, really. And I think that's the whole joy of these live streams, that we can create this little community, and that's one thing what I think we've grown over the past year, and long may it continue to grow.
Fingers crossed.
We've reached 2,000 subs, so thank you everyone. Download only. I can't afford the CDs, nor do I have the room for them. I have too many Doctor Who books for that.
That's fair. I suppose as well, by the time you get them, you'll have forgotten you ordered it. Because I think it can take about. I mean, it's long here, but
I was just thinking, for us,
some people say it's 3 months for a CD sometimes.
Yeah, it does. At this point, it feels like 3 months for when we get the latest releases, because they are quite slow getting the CDs out at the minute.
I dread to think how long the vinyls take to get over there.
Oh gosh, waiting for those vinyls. Be interesting to see how long the Eccleston vinyl takes. How long that one takes.
Lost Warriors wasn't too long, was it? That was before Christmas, and the set itself didn't come out until 23rd of November. So
yeah, I think that came
cutting down the time.
Yeah, because this just might be me being one of those fans, but I like the idea of having a release and it's just been dispatched the day. Like, you look through like your order history and you see dispatched on the day of release. Like, oh yeah, I miss that.
Yeah, it's been a while, hasn't it?
Like, I feel sorry for the people who refuse to download it despite having the access to the download, but waiting for the CD. Like, I could not have waited for Eccleston or like Dalek Universe to come in the post.
No,
I could not have waited.
Yeah, it's funny. Like, I mean, when was the last time you actually put a CD on?
Last week. It was first on torrents.
So is that like going back to one that you didn't have already on the app?
Yeah, basically, if I don't have it on the app, then I'll stick the old CD on, which is probably a vast majority. Which you've probably seen. That, like, looking at the Fifth Doctor ones, you can see which ones I have and ones I've bought elsewhere.
Yeah.
But yeah,
certainly on my phone, I'm getting to the point where I've got to pick and choose storage wise.
Oh, okay.
I've sort of reached the limit a bit, so I need to have a bit of a clear out.
Get rid of God of Phantoms. Get rid of Hinchcliffe. That's an easy sacrifice.
Yeah. It was fun because when the whole new logo thing happened, that was quite a clear point to I can now go back and start deleting old ranges that just use the old logo. And then obviously I can still re-download, re-put them on my phone again at any time and such, or like you say, listen to CD if I've got that, which I do for the most part with the previous logo. So,
because you don't have the app, do you?
No, I got a different app, so I just download the MP3s and then stick them into there. Arrange it how I like.
I mean,
it's like having my own little shelf on my phone. I can put them how I like them.
I mean, I think the app is one of the best things Big Finish has done. I will say that. I like the app.
I think certainly if I'd got into Big Finish a bit later, I'd have gone onto the app. But because I already had this from when I first started getting into it, I just thought I might as well stick with what I know, what I've got. But being able to download direct from Big Finish, like not having to go to computer and plug in, that's certainly one plus.
Yeah, because I think when I first become a subscriber to Big Finish, I'd have to wait. Like, this sounds like back in my day, like you'd wait to get the CD to actually experience the story. But now, because we've got the app, and I actually have a phone what can have apps now, you can download it right there and then and listen to it within seconds of it being released.
It's starting to sound like an advert now, aren't we? Like
we are. I mean, they should sponsor us. They should sponsor us, to be honest. Big Finish, come on. We do enough content, and you can give us cheeky access to Big Finish releases.
Stylish one says, "Will you ever get a Lady Christina series?"
Unless it gets Tom Baker. That'll be the what do you happen now? What do you happen now? Oh no.
You've tempted fate.
Oh dear. Congrats on 2K. Thank you very much, Stylish. I appreciate it.
Thanks for your endorsement of our sponsor, Paid Cyberman.
Come on, Nick Briggs. You know you're a big fan. We need it. We're young people. We don't have all the money in the world, so please help us out.
It'll go right back to you.
It'll go right back. It'll be like it's a cycle, isn't it? Oh dear.
Or just pay us in free Big Finish.
Literally, that would be ideal. That would be ideal. It'd be interesting to see how much money we save then.
I don't know, with you probably not much, because I think when they give away free stuff,
Yeah.
it's only the download they give away, so you'd still have to buy your
Maybe that would change me.
Oh,
maybe I'll turn to the dark side and go download only. I don't know.
I mean, Lady Christina, if they gave you that for free on download, you wouldn't go out and buy that CD of that, would you? So
yeah, it's like
you save some money.
Tales from the Earth. I've got the download from Doctor Who magazine. I've not pirated Big Finish at all because I don't condone it.
No.
But I've not bought that on CD. And I don't think I will ever buy that on CD.
Starship One, do you ever worry about those massive CD stacks behind you falling down?
No, because my head's not near them when I sleep. I'm more worried for the Daleks underneath, to be honest.
Oh, dear.
Yeah.
I think they're relatively secure, aren't they?
I mean, they've been up ever since we started Big Finish Fans, so they've been up like 8 years. They ain't moving anywhere. Watch the UK have like an earthquake now and this all gets destroyed.
Oh no!
Oh no!
All the dollies.
Oh no!
Lying on top of each other.
That's my pain. That's my worry. Oh man, that's a pain worse than heartbreak when a dolly falls and you're like, oh no, what damage has been done.
What ranges have you got behind you then? Because obviously you can't really put a box set on a shelf like that.
These are the main range up until 124.
Is it all of them?
No, because you've got like some of like the double cases like Zagreus and Flip. They're like double, like technically like a dual case, but because obviously they're made for individual CDs, and CD racks aren't designed for us fans who have dual case CDs.
No. I mean, imagine getting one of those after getting into Big Finish in 2022, end of the year. The only thing you put on there is Mind of the Holy Hack.
That's really sad.
I mean, I think, I don't know how many others are actually going to be like the single cases.
Yeah,
I mean Torchwoods as well.
Yeah, but we don't bother with Torchwood.
No. I mean, would you happily go download only on Torchwood?
I've thought about it a couple of times,
Yeah. I think especially when the spines are all the same. And
I think I'm not emotionally attached to Torchwood as I am Doctor Who. Like I like Torchwood, but yeah, it's just that thing where I have something to prove I bought it.
Yeah.
If Big Finish goes bust, which I hope it doesn't, then you've lost all access to your downloads then.
Yeah, you got to take very good care of that hard drive.
Yeah, you've got to be very careful. You better not let Greg here say that. Sorry, Greg. It's an absolute win situation. Briggs, you rob us for having some friends. Don't rob us of this one in a lifetime deal. That's true. Yeah. Memories of early Big Finish Fans videos. Quite chaotic from memory.
Yeah, we were a bit more busy then. Like 5, 6 plus sometimes.
Yeah, there was like TJ Productions, Kai, me, you, Taylor was on a few of them. Yeah, James.
Do we have Connor?
Connor. We had Connor there.
I think it's.
Yeah, like I would say 2015 was when it was like chaotic, and then it sort of fizzled out, and then 2018 we come back for one night only, had every intention of bringing it back for like new adventures and everything else, but just never got round to doing it. Like it was always that thing I wanted to revive.
Yeah.
And then we've revived it last year throughout lockdown, and it's sort of become a routine.
Yeah. Well, we're getting back into the Friday slot now, aren't we?
Yeah, and I kind of look forward to it.
Yeah,
I
especially
kind
like
of
when a set's come out and you just want to talk about it. It's like an
yeah,
excuse to get together and chat, really, isn't it?
yeah, I like that, and hopefully you guys enjoy it and
Yeah,
not just go, oh, they're live again.
they're having they switched their live on and forgot.
Oh, here we
They're
go.
having a natter.
They're still on it.
Uh,
But yeah, I think I am quite proud of early Big Finish fans, despite all the chaos, because it was round about the time when Big Finish was niche on Big Finish, like on YouTube. Sorry.
It was almost like all the Big Finish YouTubers coming together. Wasn't
Yeah,
it, at that point.
it was that literally, and this might be a bit of a bold statement, and this is no mean an ego thing, but I feel like it was the first like Big Finish podcast. I trying to say podcast. I've always called it a podcast when it's not really.
It's not.
You can listen to it like a podcast.
Yeah.
But I always feel like it was the first like fan Big Finish podcast content on YouTube. But there we go.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It might have been.
Because I feel like it was before the new series stuff, so it was just on like the cusp of everyone becoming more aware of it.
Did we do one on the new series license announcement?
Yeah, we did that.
Ah.
We did that. We did that was like our big comeback, and then we did Sick Doctor Last Adventure, and then we did like a Halloween special, which was like talking about the spooky Big Finishes. So I think, yeah, I feel like I've got that same excitement what we have when we started, because it was just like, right, let's do it,
Yeah. And I think as well, like when we're preparing it as well, like getting a thumbnail together as it sort of all becomes real, I guess. That's when the excitement really pumps up.
I think when you start putting the thumbnail and you schedule the stream, that's when it becomes really like, all right, we're doing it now. It's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, especially talk about a set this recent as well, something we've not done for a very long time. I mean, like we had War Doctor, but that was like doubling up. And also it had been like a couple of weeks. That was more like just us going, we fancy doing something. What can we do? Whereas this feels like this is out. We want to talk about this. We'll go for it. I feel like I'm dissing a stream we only did just 2 weeks ago now, but
it's fine. But yeah, we're off to a good start in 2022. The 2021 tier list did very well. So if you watched that, commented, liked it, thank you. Appreciate it. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for joining us for this one as well. If
you're thank you. I really like it. Let's answer a few more questions, shall we? Early ventures would still be individual, surely. That's if they're confirmed. If they're confirmed.
I mean, it's not confirmed cancelled, but you never know.
Yeah, fingers crossed they are.
I love these streams. They're always so much fun, and it's nice to see more Big Finish on YouTube. Yeah, it's always great.
It's always good. Thank you very much for the comments, and thank you for always the questions. Appreciate it.
Starsman also says, would you ever do a collaboration with Batman March? Would he ever do one with us?
That's the thing.
Question.
Like, Batman March for me was like the whole reason I started doing YouTube. So to get him on air would be amazing. And I love the dude. He's for me, he's the king of Doctor Who YouTube for me. He's just the best for me.
That's scary when you think how long your chat, like you celebrated your 10-year anniversary recently.
Yeah.
So you think he got you into YouTube? How old is his channel?
I think
is he as old as YouTube?
Yeah, I think he started like 2007, 2008 because he did like David Tennant Figure Adventures. But then he gained his popularity with, I think, Return of the Sea Devils, which was the first video I saw of his. And then ever since then, I've been a devoted follower since like 2008. So he's for me, he's just icon for me.
I think his big thing at the moment is Review of Death, isn't it? Really, that seems to be his like flagship podcast of sorts, sort of similar to us,
that's gone. That whole revival of him is so good, like really good move by them. I hope it continues because it's really good.
That's like a sit-down discussion in person as well, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, hopefully we can get to that stage.
Yeah, maybe someday.
Yeah, hopefully someday we can get to that point.
Big Finish fans on the sofa, I guess.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. Yeah, that'd be quite cool.
As a better title we can come up with, but yes.
Yeah,
Behind the Big Finish sofa.
behind the app, behind the
Behind
ears, behind the headphones. I don't know.
Who knows?
See, I'm excited for you guys to get to the old arcs of Big Finish, like Erimim arc, Charlie arc, Evelyn arc. Yeah, you've not really dived into like the back catalogue of Big Finish as much, really.
No, only so much money can be spent.
I mean, you can get some on Spotify.
No, that's true.
So I've been tempted to do like a Storm Warning like stream or something like that, just to celebrate Charlie. But then I'm like, we kind of missed the boat for that one. But yeah,
I mean, so did Big Finish, but they're still celebrating.
Yeah, they're still celebrating it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think very much. Our schedule sort of depends on Big Finish themselves as well, like when they're throwing out new sets or a big piece of news we can discuss, make a stream out of.
Yeah, because we've got ideas. We've got like a list. I think you did like a whole like Word document.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I saved that or not.
Yeah.
Oh no, I think I sent it to you in.
Yeah, you sent me on message. Yeah, I've got that. But yeah, it all depends on what Big Finish release and what we can do, really.
Yeah, I don't think the hype train's stopping anytime soon on this. I think we've got plenty of ideas. Not necessarily a clear schedule of them, but we got different ones we can get around to. It all depends what we're in the mood for, really.
Yeah.
I think there's no point setting ourselves a strict schedule and then just being like, I'm not really in the mood to listen to that and forcing ourselves to, because that's when it stops becoming fun.
Yeah.
And I think one of the things that hopefully makes it better for people watching is that we are having fun. We've had fun listening to these, and now we're having fun talking about them.
Yeah.
Or even if we've not had fun listening to them, we're having fun.
We can joke about
it a bit and finding out
Yeah.
more of why we didn't like them. I think that's the other thing, isn't it? When there's something you enjoy a bit less, when you talk about it with someone else, you maybe dissect your own reasons as to why, and sometimes even reassess certain things, and you could get a different perspective and go back into it and enjoy it a bit more.
Yeah, I think that's one of my favourite streams we did last year with us, like Fifth Doctor and Fourth Doctor Series 3, because we had such an attachment to those. To revisit them, it was fun, and hopefully we can do a few more throwback ones this year.
Yeah, because we've got so much like behind you, got so much of a huge back catalogue, and that's only scratching the surface of your Big Finish collection, really, isn't it?
Which
so when
you feel bad not touching because of so much new stuff. But then you don't want to fall behind on the new stuff to go back on the stuff.
Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? I mean, I already abandoned Stranded 3 halfway through to do 40.
Do you regret it?
With new stuff? Not really.
Exactly.
But still, I'll get into. I mean, it's only a couple of days off. I'll get back into Stranded 3 over the weekend.
Yeah, I mean, we'll probably get Charlie next year or whatever. No, not next week. Sorry. No, sorry, I'm brain fine.
Last week, this time last week, you've got away with that.
Yeah, I would have actually. See, I'm living in the wrong year. It's all fine.
I mean, some people could say that's us in general, listening to old doctors on Big Finish.
See, I sort of feel a bit like a hipster because I'm like, well, we know about the old stuff. We can talk about Tom Baker.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then you don't want people thinking, oh, what sad loonies.
So that's why we come here to a judgment-free zone.
Yeah.
And I guess as well, we also talk about more than just Big Finish, don't we? Like even this stream alone, we went into a bit of a Fifth Doctor talk because I think there are quite a few people who are into Big Finish and Doctor Who on Big Finish who aren't necessarily big on Classic Who.
Yeah.
Or like it's something they watched ages ago, but don't necessarily visit too much. Whereas I feel like we do go back and stick on a classic story reasonably often, like especially new collection box set as well. We'll watch some of that. So
I feel like as well, the more time you have, the more you're gonna delve into like the classic stuff. To be honest,
that's true.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of the sort of TV stuff, we ever do tier list on new series like Series 5, tier list or whatever, for example.
Yeah, I think weren't we possibly planning a review series on Series 5 actually?
We were planning on
And-
doing a Moffat series, wasn't it? Like Series 8 or like Series 9. I know we were doing something like Capaldi related. Because I feel like
yeah.
me and you are quite... we're very different when it comes to Moffat, I feel.
I think then we sort of hit on What the Crack, didn't we?
Yeah.
As the title for some.
What the flux and what the crack.
And sort of doing that on, was it the 12-year anniversary of each story? Weekly upload a review potentially. I don't. I mean, don't take this as guaranteed. This is just like spitballing ideas, really. But yeah,
We've definitely got some planned for December if everything works out well.
Yeah, that's true.
Which is a long way away, but hopefully we can get and do that.
Yeah. I think that's just a case of we don't record it just yet because we're way too far in advance.
Yeah.
But yeah, certainly plans, wheels are in motion.
Yeah. We're not stopping anytime soon.
No. I think, like you said, we're sort of like in a new stride at the moment, aren't we?
Yeah.
Because sort of after summer we dipped off a bit just because life gets in the way sometimes. We get busy. And yeah, but we seem to be in a bit of a groove, I suppose, currently. So we'll see how long we go.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, if not, it can be like one every 2 weeks or something like that. Just so we can at least get that, whether it stays weekly, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, this is... When was War Doctor? That was a week and 1 day ago. So we've had 3 within the space of 8 days. So we're doing pretty well.
This is a good start for us.
Yeah. We're coming to the end now, though. So leave any last thoughts in the
little last
chat
questions, and we shall bid you good night.
Do you like the alternative Big Finish covers with the era-appropriate logos? I noticed your collection with it. You had the alternate Second Doctor Companion Chronicles Volume 1 cover displayed. Is that because of the mess up they did with it?
Yeah, that's the only reason I got that, because of a printing issue. Because I tend to just keep it as said logo it comes with, just because I prefer the other logo, to be honest.
Yeah, I think especially with more box sets now, where you can flip it around inside, but it doesn't make much of a difference.
Yeah, you can't change the actual box.
No, imagine that if they sent you a second alternative box set, flat packed with.
That'd be interesting. I don't think I'd go to all that effort, but
no.
Yeah,
and also that's the case of what do you do with them, because you're still going to have one or the other spare.
Like, that's another thing. Like with Vortex, I'm like, do I sell like spare Vortex? Because I don't need like 5 copies of the same month's.
And
Vortex.
some people do want a complete Vortex collection as well.
Yeah,
but then half the time you get them in crumpled condition.
Yeah, like if you don't get it in like a jiffy bag, you're gonna get a messed up Vortex.
And I suppose that's the other thing. There are less of those now. Because less single CDs, sadly.
Yeah.
Why did we not get Alternative McGann with his logo when they changed to Jodie's logo? I wish I knew.
Yeah, it seems a bit of a shame that they forget McGann has a logo.
Especially when they're still doing it for the 10th and 9th Doctors.
Yeah. I mean, I do like the Eccleston and Tennant logos being used because I get really nostalgic for them.
Yeah. I think with the new cover format as well, they work because they're like getting that same long gap, don't they? Whereas classic logos are more like
they're blocks,
squished and square, which I suppose is a representation of the aspect ratios, isn't it?
The TVs,
classic versus new.
Yeah, I think for me it just looks weird seeing them with the alternate covers. Like you're so used to seeing it with like the main cover with like the Jodie era logo. It feels wrong changing it.
Yeah, because you only see that by the time the release actually comes out.
Yeah.
Yeah, whereas most part that is the logo you're used to. And I think sometimes it's not because it's not as it's intended as well for a lot of the covers, so it like covers up certain parts of it that wouldn't have been on the original. So it's almost like going against the artist's intent. It's like watching a film in the wrong aspect ratio or something and cropping the sides, or watching classic Who spread over the widescreen.
Ben and Luke, will you be in Death of a Nightly? I have to ask my agent about that. I have to ask our agents whether we're available to be in it. I've seen a lot of praise for Stranded 3 myself. I've seen a few call it best Stranded set and one of the best releases of 2021, one of the best 8th Doctor box sets. It's got high timescale rate. Not for us, apparently.
No,
They must have a different copy.
I'm enjoying the first half at least. But I'm not sure I'd call it the best so far. Maybe it's got some really good stuff later on, but yeah.
I prefer Stranded 1, to be honest. I think
Yeah,
that as an overall box set, I enjoyed that tonally.
It's just cozy and nice, isn't it?
Mm.
And something a bit different from again.
Whereas Stranded 2 was 50-50 for me.
Mm.
And then Stranded 3, I have no idea.
Yeah, like from the point I'm at, we're not even back in Baker Street yet.
Yeah. Thoughts on Cold
wrong.
Fusion? It's a 5th Doctor audio after all. And what is the alternative logo on the back? I enjoyed Cold Fusion. I want to revisit that one because it references I am the Doctor. He crosses a void beyond the mind.
I think it's 5th
and
Doctor, isn't it? The alternative logo.
I think so. I think it has 5th and 7th Doctor. I think it does have that from memory. I mean, the 4 Doctors has every logo in it. If you want to change that.
Is it sort of like flipped on the inside as well, so it doesn't?
Yeah, it's like.
Or does it still have a? Does it still have the staples in it?
Yeah, the staples of it. Yeah.
Because like some of the later booklets, it is just a leaflet.
Oh yeah, it's a chunky booklet. Like it's got like individual artwork with a Doctor and a Dalek, and then the logo for each Doctor, so you can flip it round. So if you want it with your 7th Doctor audios or your 6th or 5th Doctor, you can have it. That option if you want it. But yeah, Cold Fusion, I like it. Nice 6-part. I want to revisit
fan of it. I struggled.
I mean, it does technically link to Stranded 3.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
In a weird way. Original Sin, that's another one I never finished.
I think my problem with Original Sin is it didn't honor the book in terms of the villain. It was too scared of going, I am such and such. I think that's what lets it down.
Which is funny because Big Finish now with their recasts are so
they would have done it.
Yeah, like they just missed it with that one. But yeah, I think that like they both came out on the same day, so I dove straight into Cold Fusion instead because that was the one I was like for. Then felt a bit burnt out by it. Eventually got round to Original Sin, but really didn't get into the first part, so just never ended up going back.
Yeah. Why did around 2016, 2015 Big Finish offer a few downloads of box sets that were all joined together in large audio? I think it's probably they were just trying to work out how to work the file size and all that sort of stuff, probably. And now they've probably got it down to a fine art.
Yeah, I think Age of Sutek, that's 4th Doctor. Triumph, or is it Age of Sutek? What is the Benny Sutek box set?
I think it's Triumph for Sutek, isn't it?
I cannot remember.
I think it's Triumph.
Yeah, Triumph rings more about. I think Age of Sutek is 4th Doctor, but
Let's have a look in the old app.
Yeah, it's Triumph. There we go.
Okay, there we are.
Yeah, that's one. The download features a one very long audiobook file with all 4 stories together. Yeah, God, it's funny thinking back that was a huge event at the time, wasn't it?
Yeah, first time Sutek on Big Finish. Yeah, that's crazy to be honest. And how far we've really come because box sets did feel like a big event, really.
Yeah, I think especially as well 7th Doctor.
Mm-hmm.
That was sort of.
He wasn't bad.
We were still excited about him.
Yeah, we had We're the Daleks, Warehouse. You know, 7th Doctor was in a good place back in 2015.
Oh, that's weird. Thinking back that this was the same month as Secret History and before all that stuff.
I feel oddly nostalgic for 2015 a lot. I feel really
Mm.
nostalgic for that
Yeah.
because I think that was like the first proper year I was a Big Finish fan.
Yeah, same really. Like I got
Like,
into it mid to end of 2014, but this is when I really started picking up in bulk.
yeah, it was like picking up the latest releases because I think before then you're going back, checking all that out, and now you're diving into literally hit. People are probably diving into that back catalogue now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I suppose that's now like the middle history of Big Finish, but the Middle Ages.
Yeah. Oh no. Gosh, we've been around for too long.
And yet, release-wise, it's probably somewhere more towards the middle when you think about how few came out early on. Like, if you had a list of every single Big Finish release, despite it chronologically being closer to now, it would be somewhere more towards the middle of that list.
Yeah, because you only had main range. Fourth Doctor was in its infancy still, really, and Eighth Doctor was just starting his box set journey.
When we say infancy, it's 4 years in.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know. But nevertheless, it does feel like his infancy.
Yeah. But yeah, I
It's
think
like
that's
on the
Oh, go
Triumph
on.
of Sutek page now, just looking through, feeling a bit nostalgic. Even though I know I have big problems with the set. Maybe that's something to revisit. Maybe that's improved.
I'm actually down for that because that's a box that I've tried to get into and I've never quite finished it, and I want to like it, and there's just something that just stops me from finishing it.
Yeah, there's a lot to like in it, but then that final part seems to drag it down. The final 2 parts, I'd say, actually.
I've listened to part 1 so many times. It's just I can't get past the rest of it. So
That's
maybe
all I
because I know I'm doing a stream, I'll be like, right, I'll push myself to finish it.
Yeah, that could be a good little motivation. Yeah, that's 7 years old now, nearly. Over 6 years old.
Goodness.
Coming up to its 7th anniversary this year. Wow.
It's mental.
Yeah, I think. Were you going to say that's a good point to leave off then?
Yeah, I'll answer this last question about Bernie Summerfield in terms of, but I think probably I like box set 4 cover art with David Warner on the chair. I think that's probably my favourite. But then Triumph of Sutek, that's a nice cover as well.
Yeah, that's like iconic, isn't it? I think Sutek there.
I remember seeing it at like Big Finish Day 6, and it wasn't announced yet. And that was a time when Big Finish did like little exclusives. Like, wow. I like, so cool seeing that.
I think they're much more careful with it now, aren't they? They'll give you the occasional exclusive, but for the most part. I mean, like with the Bambera news, like the DWM exclusive news used to be in there for quite a while, didn't it?
Yeah.
But now you get that the day of, usually. Like they'll say as exclusively revealed. When they say that, a lot of people probably would have picked up there.
Yeah.
Or read into it yet. But yeah, for me, I'd probably say Triumph of Sutek's the best one. Yeah, Rule of the Universe is a close follow-up. Unbound Universe is a bit of a weird one. I don't know quite what Gatiss is doing on that, but I'm not feeling it.
Maybe we should tier list those.
I mean, you've got all of them at least, so
yeah. So I get a say.
Yeah. The volume 1's on sale at the moment. I'm not quite sure why. Yeah, it's $13.33, and then 20 quid on download.
Oh,
but I'm not sure what's special at the moment. Is that maybe part of the Yuletide? No, because it's not code for that. But none of the other ones.
Is it the book club one? Would it be like their little book club thing they do?
Might be. Let's check Vortex. Because I swear that was actually relevant, the book club one. To like something, they usually make it relevant to something come out in a month, don't they?
Unless it links like the Benny audio, I don't know.
Oh yeah, that's true. Maybe they did it for that. Come on, I'm just scrolling through.
Oh, it'd be for the Dalek sale to celebrate Evil of the Daleks. Thanks, Stylish one. Makes sense. Okay.
Yeah. And book club is Charlotte Pollard series 1. There we go. So yeah, it was
okay.
For the Charlie set. There we go.
Right. I think that's us done for tonight.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us.
Thank you everyone for joining us on this stream, talking all things Big Finish and Fifth Doctor 40. If you want to check it out, check it out. It's an interesting set, to say the least, and hopefully it can be redeemed with the Auton Infinity.
Yeah, maybe if you're a bit more on the fence on it, wait for the Auton Infinity, see what people are saying about it then. And then you could always dive in and have like one long series of it, really. Because like we said, there's no big cliffhanger to have spoiled, really.
Yeah.
So you're not missing out on anything by waiting a bit if that's what you're in the mood for.
Thanks, Pain Cyberman. Thank you for joining. Thanks, Stylish One. And we'll see you very soon for whatever we do next. We'll keep you in suspense because we don't know. And yeah, we'll figure that out. We'll figure that out in the next couple of days, what the next one will be.
Yeah.
So thank you, everyone.
In place soon.
And we'll see you very soon, hopefully next Friday.
Yeah. Fingers crossed. Take care, everyone.
Take care, everyone.